The Project Gutenberg ebook of the Botanist's Repository for New and Rare Plants, Volume 08 of 10. This ebook is for the use of anyone anywhere in the United States and most other parts of the world at no cost and with almost no restrictions whatsoever. You may copy it, give it away or reuse it under the terms of the Project Gutenberg license included with this ebook or online at www.gutenberg.org. If you are not located in the United States, you will have to check the laws of the country where you are located before using this ebook. Title: The Botanist's Repository for New and Rare Plants, Volume 08 of 10. Author: active 1799 to 1828. Henry Cranke An. Release date: April 14, 2024. Ebook number 73396. Language: English. Original publication: London. The author: 1797. Credits: Chuck Grief and the online distributed proofreading team at https://www.pgdp.net. This file was produced from images generously made available by Biodiversity Heritage Library. Start of the Project Gutenberg ebook. The Botanist's Repository for New and Rare Plants, Vol. 08 of 10. Index to the plants contained in Vol. 8. Errata Vol. 8. Volume 8. Of the Botanist's Repository, comprising colored engravings of new and rare plants only with botanical descriptions and C in Latin and English, after the Linnean system. By H. Andrews, botanical painter engraver, and C. PG1 PG2 plate Uxkeen. Bignonia grandiflora. Large lowered Bignonia. Class 14. Order 2. Didynamia angiospermia. 2 chives longer. Seeds covered. Essential generic character: Calyx 5 Fidus, Cyathiformis. Corolla fos campanulata, 5 Fida, Subtis ventricosa. Siliqua bilocularis. Semina membranacea, Alida. Impalement 5 Cleft, cup-shaped. Blossom bell-shaped at the mouth, 5 cleft and bellied beneath. A pod of 2 cells. Seeds winged, with a skinny membrane. See Bignonia leucoxylon, P.L. Slyene. Volume I. Specific character: Bignonia foliis pinnatis, folioles oblongo-lanceolates, serratis, floribus in paniculo terminally, velpodius in racemo e peduncules trifloris, oppositis, alternatis, corales magnus, coccinais, campanulates, col erecto, radicante, et scandente. Bignonia with winged leaves, leaflets of an oblong lance shape, and sod. Flowers grow in a terminating panicle, or rather in a raceme upon footstalks with 3 flowers, opposite and alternate. Blossom large, of a scarlet color, and bell-shaped, stem upright, rooting, and climbing. Reference to the plate. 1. The impalement. 2. A blossom spread open. 3. Seed bud and pointle. This superb Bignonia is well characterized by the specific appellation of grandiflora, and although, in several genera, this title has been rendered nugatory by the introduction afterwards of still larger flowering species, yet we think it is not likely to be the case in the present instance. In Kaempfer's icons there is a tolerably good figure of this fine plant. It flowers in the autumn, and great hopes are entertained that it will ultimately prove to be of a hardy character, when a fair trial of it is made, with its scarcity has hitherto prevented. Our figure was made from a plant 7 feet high, in the conservatory of G. Hibbert, Esq. where, under the care of Mr. Knight, his botanic gardener, that valuable collection is in the most luxuriant state of cultivation. PG3 PG4 plate Uxiv. Scutellaria serrata. Sod-leaved Scutellaria. Class 14. Order Didynamia gymnospermia. 2 chives longer. Seeds naked. Essential generic character: Calyx. Os calycis, ad perfectionem seminum post florescentium, claudit, quasi cum operculo tectum. Impalement. The mouth of the cup, to perfect the seed after flowering, shuts as if covered by a lid. Specific character. Scutellaria foliis oppositis, ovitoacuminates, serratis, floribus ramos terminantibus in spica laxus cerealio purpurea, col erecto, quadrato. Habitat in Carolina et Florida. Scutellaria with opposite leaves ovately pointed, and sawed, flowers terminate the branches in a loose spike of a blue-purple color, stem upright, and four-sided. Native of Carolina and Florida. Reference to the plate. 1. The impalement. 2. The same as it appears after flowering. 3. The flower spread open, one of the tips magnified. 4. Seed bud and pointle. This Scutellaria is one amongst the number of those new plants brought from America by Mr. Lyons, very few of which have, we think, proved more attractive than the present subject. The fine purple blue of its flowers is of all colors the most difficult for any effort of art to do justice to. There are 17 species of this genus enumerated by Wildenau, and 15 of them are serrate, 1 hastate, and the other, which is called integrifolia, we are inclined to think is intended to characterize our plant, as, notwithstanding it is called entire-leaved, it is described as obsoletely serrate, and agrees very well in other particulars with our species. We have adopted the unoccupied specific title of serrata, although it is a character common to almost all the genus, in preference to one that could not, if strictly attended to, ever lead us to the object. The genera that approach nearest to Scutellaria are Trichostema on one side, and Prunella on the other, from which, and many others that surround it, the most essential distinction is in the singular construction and character of the calyx, which forms its short but well-marked essential generic character. Our figure was made from a plant in the open border of the garden of J. Veer, ESQPG 5 PG 6 plate CCCCXCV. Protea corymbosa. Corymbose flowering protea. Class 4. Order I Tetrandria monogenea. 4 chives. 1 pointle. Essential generic character. Corolla 4 phyta, SCU 4 petala. Antheri linears, petalis infraapices inserti. Calyx proprius, nullus. Semina solitaria. Blossom 4 cleft, or of 4 petals, tips linear, inserted into the petals below the points. Cup proper, none. Seeds solitary. Specific character. Protea foliis terretibus, brevibus, obtusis, ascendentibus, glossus, floribus capitatus, luteus, corymbosus. Frutex pygmaeus, dumasus, ramus subverticillidus. Protea with round short leaves, blunt-ended, ascending, and glaucous, flowers headed, yellow, and growing in the manner of a corymbus. A dwarf shrub, bushy, with branches nearly whorled. Reference to the plate. 1. The involucrum of the flowers. 2. A flower with its bractea. 3. A chive magnified. 4. Seed bud and pointle, summit magnified. This plant has been long known in the gardens by the title of Protea purpurea, but never flowered in this country till last summer, at the nursery of Mr. Williams of Turnham Green, when, instead of purple flowers, as was expected from its specific title, they proved to be yellow. It bears so great a resemblance to the P. terretifolia, that when we figured that species, by comparing it with a dried native specimen, we were almost inclined to think a small variety of that plant was the P. corymbosa altered in its manner of growth in this climate by a different mode of culture. But comparison with the living plants has now determined them to be distinct species, and left no doubt remaining of this being the peak Arimbosa figured by Thunberg in his dissertation on the genus Protea pg7 pg8 plate uxkv. Jasminum multiflorum. Many-flowered jasmine. Class 2. Order Idiandria monogenea. 2 chives. 1 pointal. Essential generic character. Calyx 5-8 partita. Corolla hippocrateriformis, 5-8 phyta, Bacca bilocularis. Semina solitaria, arolata. Impalement 5-8 parted. Blossom funnel shaped, 5-8 cleft, berry 2 locular. Seeds solitary, arolated. Specific character. Jasminum folius oppositus, cordatis, glabrous, pubescentibus, floribus terminalibus, umbellatis, quaternes vel octones, in singula umbella, corales albis, magnus, octophytes, odoratissimis. Habitat in Calcutta. Jasmine with opposite heart-shaped leaves, smooth, and hairy, flowers terminate the branches in umbels of 4 to 8 in each umbel, blossoms are white, large, 8 cleft, and very sweet-scented. Native of Calcutta. Reference to the plate. 1. The impalement. 2. A blossom spread open. 3. The impalement spread open with the seed bud and pointal, summit magnified. This fine new jasmine was introduced by Lady Hume from the East Indies, and is the largest flowering species of the genus as yet known. It is highly scented, and of the odor of the gardenia, or Cape jasmine. It is a handsome hothouse plant, but from its recent introduction is at present scarce. We find a small rude figure of it in Burman, under the title of Nyctanthes multiflora, but it is now better accepted under the softer-sounding appellation of Jasminum, an old fragrant and ever-favorite genus. The drawing was made from a luxuriant specimen communicated to the author by A. B. Lambert, ESQ PG9 PG10 plate uxkvi. Jasminum sambac, various flor pleno. Indian jasmine, full-flowered variety. Class 2. Order Idiandria monogenea. 2 chives. 1 pointal. Essential generic character. Calyx 5-8 partita. Corolla hippocrateriformis, 5-8 phyta, Bacca bilocularis. Semina solitaria, arolata. Impalement 5-8 parted. Blossom funnel shaped, 5-8 cleft, berry 2 locular. Seeds solitary, arolated. Specific character. Jasminum folius oppositus, ovates, Apis acutus, floribus in ramus terminalibus, plerumptirnes, corales aggregatus, vel tribus inuna, invalidus, fragrantissimis, ramus oppositus, hirsuotes, ferrugineus, call patent, scandente. Jasmine with leaves opposite, egg-shaped, and often pointed at the end. Flowers terminate the branches mostly by threes, blossoms are aggregate, or 3 in 1 folded together, and very sweet-scented, branches are opposite, hairy, and of a rusty color, stem spreading, and climbing. Reference to the plate. 1. A blossom separated, the inner tube spread open. 2. The impalement spread open, seed bud, and pointal, summit magnified. This jasmine possesses a fragrance of such unequivocal sweetness as renders it, although an old hothouse plant, one of its best acquisitions. We have preferred the variety before the species, for its superior beauty, and the opportunity of displaying the singular construction of its flowers, which separate into 3 distinct parts, the inner one bearing the stamens perfect in appearance, but upon examination they will be found sterile. This, as well as its original, the single flowering one, is highly esteemed all over India, cultivated, and sold in their markets for the purpose of distilling from them a perfumed water, like that extracted from the rose. The Indian women macerate the flowers with those of Michelia champaca, the Uvaria odoratissima, and the common jasmine, in oil of aloes or oil of benzoin, and then expose it to the sun for 3 days, adding fresh flowers every day. It is then used by the youth of both sexes to anoint their hair with, which they consider as their greatest ornament. In the spring, garlands and crowns are made of the plants, and used by the Hindus in their sacrifices or religious rites. Both the single and this variety are figured in Van Reed's Hortus Malabaricus, and also by Rumphius in his Herbarium Amboinans, who describes the flowers as opening in India at sunset, continuing all night, and the following, when they fall off, that the succession is abundant, thriving well on a trellis, like common jasmine, and having a charming appearance when impearled with the dew of the morning. Our figure was made from a plant in the hothouse of J. Veer, ESQ PG 11 PG 12 plate uxcadiath. Hibiscus pruriens. Stinging hibiscus. Class 16. Order 6. Monadelphia polyandria. Threads united. Many chives. Essential generic character. Calyx duplex, exterior polyphylous. Stigmata 5. Capsula 5 locularis, polysperma. Impalement double, outer one many-leaved. 5 summits. Capsule 5 cellid, many-seeded. Specific character. Hibiscus folius subcordatus, lobatus, dentatis, floribus terminalibus, magnus, color sulfuro, ad basin petalorum macula atrapurpurea notatus. Callus et petiola setis parvis laxus obsidi sunt, qui manibus adherent irritant et pungunt. Hibiscus with nearly heart-shaped leaves, lobed and toothed, flowers terminal, large, and of a sulfur color, with a dark purple spot at the base of the petals. The stem and petioles are beset with small loose bristles, which sticking to the hand irritate and sting. Reference to the plate. 1. The impalement. 2. The chives cut open, one tip magnified. 3. Seed bud and pointle, summits magnified. This nondescript species of hibiscus is a native of the East Indies. It approaches in general appearance nearest to the H. cannabinus. The stems and footstalks of our plant are beset with short bristly hairs, so loosely attached that they easily come off, and, sticking about the hands, create an unpleasant sensation somewhat resembling the stinging of a nettle. The fine dark eye of the flower is a great relief to the surrounding sulfur color, to the light delicacy of whose appearance it is so very difficult to do justice, for, in this showy family, elegant inflorescence is their principal recommendation. Our figure represents a fine plant raised in the hot stove of A. B. Lambert, ESQ PG 13 PG 14 plate uxix. Ipomea coccinea. Scarlet Ipomea. Class V order Ipentandria monogenea. 5 chives. 1 pointle. Essential generic character. Corolla infundibuliformis. Stigma capitato globosum. Capsula 3 locularis. Blossom funnel-shaped. Summit-headed, of a globular form. Capsule of 3 loculaments. Specific character. Ipomea folius heterogeneus, peduncules multiflorus, corales saturate coccinais, call purpureo, torto et involuto. Ipomea with ivy-shaped leaves, footstalks with many flowers, blossoms of a deep scarlet, stem purple, twisted, and twining. Reference to the plate. 1. The impalement. 2. A blossom spread open. 3. Seed bud and pointle, summit magnified. Of this species of Ipomea there are 2 good uncollared figures, one in Cumlin's Rariorum, tab. 21, under the title of Quamaclata americana, the other in the Americana of Plumier, 89, tab. 103, under the appellation of Convolvulus coccineus, but not to be confounded with the Ipomea coccinea, erroneously so called, of the Botanical Magazine, which is the Ileteola of Jacquin's icons, and a very different plant, although Wildenau in his Species Plantarum has made a mere variety of it, observing that it differs in no other particular except in color. But comparison, either with the living plants or the figures above alluded to, will prove them to be distinct in their foliage as well as the color of their flowers. Neither of them is well discriminated by its specific title, as the Ileteola is more of a scarlet than of a yellow color, and the coccinea is of too deep a red to be with accuracy denominated scarlet. But references to color are mostly too equivocal to be very characteristic. From Mr. J. Milne, botanic gardener at Fonthill, we received this specimen, whose luxuriant growth in the hot stove may probably have occasioned the abbreviation in the filaments, which are generally extended a little beyond the mouth of the flower, instead of being confined to the base of the tube, as our figure represents, but in which we follow nature, and although it is not an unprecedented circumstance to find the threads shortened or lengthened by culture, yet when that difference is so very powerful as in the present instance, it is well deserving notice. Pg 15 Pg 16 Plate D Protea mucronifolia. Mucronate-leaved Protea. Class 4. Order Itetrandria monogenea. 4 chives. 1 pointal. Essential generic character. Corolla 4 phyta, SCU 4 petala. Antheri linears, petalis infraapices inserti. Calyx proprius, nullus. Semina solitaria. Blossom 4 cleft, or of 4 petals. Tips linear, inserted into the petals below the points. Cup proper, none. Seeds solitary. Specific character. Protea folius lanceolates, mucronates, glossus, involucro imbricato, ad basin parvo, cuneato, vires sente, superis lanceolates, patentibus, acutus, albis, floribus terminalibus, capitatus, carnis, petalis coerentibus. Protea with lance-shaped, mucronate leaves of a glaucous green, the involucrum tiled, small at the base, wedge-shaped, and greenish. Those on the upper part are lance-shaped, spreading, pointed, and white. Flowers are terminal and headed, flesh-colored, with the petals adhering together. Reference to the plate. 1. A flower spread open, 1 tip magnified. 2. Seed bud and pointal, summit magnified. Amongst the smaller species of this extensive genus the Protea mucronifolia may be placed, but by no means ranked among the least in beauty. It has been figured in the Paradisus londinensis, and also in the Botanical Magazine, and therefore in the botanical world may be no longer considered as new or rare, but having already figured so many of the most beautiful, we cannot think of excluding any attractive or distinct species of this fine tribe of plants. Our figure was taken from a plant in the garden of G. Hibbert, ESQ Pg 17 Pg 18 Plate D. Helenia ulugus. Ceylon Helenia. Class I. Order I. Menandria monogenea. 1 chive. 1 pointal. Essential generic character. Calyx tubulosus, bifidus. Corolla tripartita, Laciniarum apicibus cucullates. Nectarium quadrividum. Capsula globosa, et trivalvus, septoduplici inclusa, polysperma. Semina arolata. Impalement tubular, 2 cleft. Blossom 3 divided, the points of the segments are hooded. Nectarium 4 cleft. Seed vessel round, and 3 valved, enclosed in a double loculament, many seeded. Seeds arolated. Specific character. Helenia folius lanceolates, vaginantibus, Floribus in racemes terminalibus odoratissimis. Habitat in palliatibus zilanicis. Helenia with lance-shaped sheathing leaves, with terminal racemes of flowers, which are very sweet-scented. Native of the marshes about Colombo. Reference to the plate. 1. The spathe. 2. The sheath which crowns the seed bud, cut open. 3. A flower divested of the chives and nectary. 4. The honey cup. 5. Seed bud, chives, and pointle. 6. The seed bud and pointle, summit magnified. 7. The capsule. 8. The same divested of its outer coat. 9. A central branched cord that connects the lobes. 10. One of the lobes of the seed vessel. 11. The same shown inside, with the seeds exposed and one lifted from its cell. 12. A seed without its arillus, or skinny coat. This fine menandrous plant was named Helenia by Wildenau, after his friend Professor Helenius. The title of Alugaz was given it by the Singhalese, from the fruit when young appearing as if sprinkled with ashes. Berman in his Thesaurus Zelanicus, p. 54, informs us that the alugaz grows abundantly in the marshes about Colombo, that the flowers are very odoriferous, and are made into conserves and used as cordials to strengthen the head and stomach. From the fruit and seed an oil is extracted that is much used in medicine. Mr. Roscoe, in the 8th volume of the Linnean Transactions, has ranked it under the genus Alpinia, but the filamentary system of that gentleman we think infinitely too slender to support the great difference existing between the fruit of our plant and that of Alpinia. Our figure was made from a fine living specimen, and the only one that has ever flowered in this country, raised from seed by A. B. Lambert, ESQ PG 19 PG 20 Plate DI. Lobelia surinamensis, various flor rubro. Suriname lobelia, red-flowered variety. Class V order I Pentandria monogenea. 5 chives. 1 pointle. Essential generic character. Calyx 5 fidus. Corolla 1 petala, 5 fida, irregularis. Anthary coherent. Capsula in furrow, 2 scu 3 locularis. Impalement 5 cleft. Blossom 1 petal, irregular, 5 cleft. Chives adhering together. Capsule beneath, 2, sometimes 3 loculaments. Specific character. Lobelia col suffruticoso, folius oblonges, glabrous, serratis, floribus axillaribus, pedunculatus, corales laet rubris, pentagones, cavatis, tubulosus, suprabasin impressus. Habitat in Suriname. Lobelia with a shrubby stem, leaves oblong, smooth, and sawed, flowers axillary, pedunculated, blossoms of a bright red color, 5-sided, curved, and tubular, indented just above the base. Native of Suriname. Reference to the plate. 1. The impalement. 2. A blossom spread open. 3. The chives spread open. 4. The seed bud and pointle. 5. Seed bud cut transversely. A fine living specimen of this elegant variety of the Lobelia surinamensis was communicated to the author by A. B. Lambert, ESQ, who received it amongst a large collection of hothouse plants presented to him by Lord Seaforth, and collected by that nobleman in the West Indies whilst governor of the island of Barbados. The plant from which this figure was delineated was near 4 feet high, with numerous branches terminated by buds and flowers, whose brilliance enlivening the gloomy month of November, may justly rank it as one of the greatest ornaments of the hot stove. PG 21 PG 22 Plate DIII. Nymphea rubra. Red-flowered nymphea. Class 13. Order I Polyandria monogenea. Many chives. 1 pointle. Essential generic character. Corolla polypetala. Calyx 4 scu 5 phyllis. Bacca multilocularis, Locules polyspermous. Blossom many-petaled. Impalement 4 or 5-leaved. Berry many-celled, with many seeds in each cell. Specific character. Nymphea foliae suborbiculates, irregular adhere dentatis, glaberomys, lobes approximatus, corales rubris, radis batatis assimilata, et multiplicante in majum istius vegetabilis. Nymphea rubra. Rocks. Manuscripts Nymphea with nearly round leaves irregularly toothed, and very smooth, with the lobes approximating, blossom red, root resembling that of a potato, and increasing like that vegetable. Reference to the plate. 1. A chive. 2. Seed bud and pointle. This fine red aquatic is so nearly allied to the Nymphea lotus, that many consider it as only a variety, but it certainly is specifically distinct in the color of the flowers, as the term variety can only be applicable to those lighter or darker shades of color that may occasionally vary by culture or climate. This Nymphea is no doubt, like the N. lotus, considered as a sacred plant, but probably that species may be more highly estimated, from the emblematical purity of its fine white petals. As 4 or 5 more figures will include every species of this fine section of aquatics at present known, we shall not omit any of them, and intend, in the course of the ensuing summer, to give a figure of that most magnificent of all the species, the N. nelumbo. Our figure was made from a plant in the collection of J. Veer, ESQ, raised in a tub of water placed in a common hotbed, where, notwithstanding its circumscribed situation, it flowered for the time in this kingdom, under the care of Mr. Anderson the botanic gardener, who informs me that this species is capable of great increase from the root, whilst the N. lotus affords only one solitary plant, pg23 pg24 plate div Solanum seaforthianum. See 4th Solanum. Class V, Order I, Pentandria monogenea. 5 chives. 1 pointle. Essential generic character. Calyx 5 fidus. Corolla rotata, limbo 5 fido, patent, tubo brevi. Antheri oblongi, connivent, Apispores geminis, dehiscentes. Stigma obtusum. Bacca subrotunda. Impalement 5 cleft. Blossom wheel-shaped. Border 5 cleft, spreading. Tube short. Chives oblong, leaning together, with holes in pairs at the point, and splitting. Stigma obtuse. Berry nearly round. Specific character. Solanum call-inermi, scandente, herbaceae, folias pinnatis, undulates, Genuribus lanceolates, floribus in racemo, aut ramo cymoso, abaxillus foliorum, corales carnis. Nightshade with an unarmed stem, climbing and herbaceous. Leaves pinnated, and waved, the younger ones lance-shaped. Flowers grow in a raceme, or cymose branch, from the axilla of the leaves. Blossom flesh color. Reference to the plate. 1. Impalement and pointle, summit magnified. 2. A blossom spread open. Throughout this extended genus there are but few which possess attractions equal to this new and undescribed species of Solanum. It was introduced by Lord Seaforth from the West Indies, and although brought from so warm a climate, it succeeds best in the conservatory. It approaches nearest in its general appearance to the S. radicans of Linnaeus, but Mr. Lambert informs me that it is not at all inclined to root, like that species. The specimen which our figure represents was sent to us in fine bloom by Mr. J. Milne, botanic gardener, pg25 pg26 plate dv Ornithogalum flavocimum. Yellow-flowered star of Bethlehem. Class 6. Order I, Hexandria monogenea. 6 chives. 1 pointle. Essential generic character. Corolla 6 petala, persistens. Filamenta basi dilatata. Capsula 3 locularis. Semina subrotunda, nuda. Blossom 6-petaled, remaining. Threads widened at the base. Capsule 3 tricellid. Seeds roundish, naked. Specific character. Ornithogalum racemo longo, Floribus magnus, Flavicemes, Bractes membranaces, Ovito acutus, Folius lanceolates, Reflexus. Ornithogalum flavicimum. Jacques. Icons, 2. Tab. 436 Star of Bethlehem with a long spike, the flowers are large, and very yellow, the flower prop is skinny, and pointedly egg-shaped, leaves lance-shaped, and reflexed. Reference to the plate. 1. A bract or flower prop. 2. Seed bud, chives, and pointle. 3. Seed bud and pointle, summit magnified. 4. A transverse section of the seed bud magnified. This yellow ornithogalum was communicated to the author by the Honorable W. Irby, last summer, from his collection at Farnham Royal, where it was raised, we understand, from the seed of the Oorium. The only figure of it extant is in the icons of Jacquin. The continuance and abundance of its fine bloom may justly rank it amongst the most attractive of the genus. Erratum in our last number, PL.D., in the generic character of Helenia describing the capsule, instead of trivalvus, septoduplici inclusa, read E. valvus, trilocularis valvulus, 3 tricellid pg 27 pg 28 plate dvi. Rulia cristata. Crested Rulia. Class 4. Order Itetrandria monogenea. 4 chives. 1 pointle. Essential generic character. Calyx 5 pertitus. Corolla monopetala, limbo 5 lobo, inequale. Stamina biconjugata. Stylus filiformis. Stigma bifidum. Capsula decepamentus dentatis, elasticis, dehiscentibus. Semina pauca. Impalement 5-parted. Blossom 1 petal, border 5-lobed, unequal. Chives by pairs. Shaft thread-shaped. Summit 2-cleft. Capsule with the partitions toothed, elastic, and splitting. Seeds few. Specific character. Rulia cristata, Spices terminalibus, Tetragones, Corales coccinais, Oris lacinius inequalibus, Acutus, Lacinia inferior revoluta, Folius sublanceolates, Acuminates, undulatusc. Justitia cristata. Jacques. Hortschern, Volume 3. Tab. 320 Rulia with crested flowers growing in a terminal 4-sided spike. Blossoms scarlet, the segments of the border are unequal and pointed, the lower segment is rolled back, the leaves are nearly lance-shaped, pointed, and undulated. Reference to the plate. 1. The impalement. 2. A blossom spread open. 3. Seed bud and pointle, summit magnified. Of this fine stove plant there is a very good figure in the Hortus Scurenbronensis of Jacquin, under the appellation of Justitia cristata. But finding the generic character accord much better with the genus Rulia, we have, in conformity to the sexual system of Linnaeus, given it under that title. Our figure represents only a side branch of the plant, whose size was congenial to the dimensions of the work, and although the center branch would have been, like Jacquin's figure, more splendid, it would by no means have been so picturesque. It flowered for the first time in this country with A. B. Lambert, Esq., and was introduced by Lord Seaforth from the West Indies pg 29 pg 30 plate dvii. Protea abrotinifolia. Southern wood-leaved protea. Class 4. Order Essential generic character. Corolla 4 phyta, SCU 4 petala. Antheri linears, petalis infraapices incerti. Calyx proprius, nullus. Semina solitaria. Blossom 4 cleft, or of 4 petals. Tips linear, inserted into the petals below the points. Cup proper, none. Seeds solitary. Specific character. Protea folius bipinnatus, filiformibus, glabrous, floribus terminalibus, umbellates, peduncules longies, bractees magnus, reflexus, corales carnis, extern villosus. Habitat ad caput boni spii. Protea with doubly winged leaves, thread-shaped, and smooth, flowers terminate the branches in umbels, footstalks are long, with large reflexed floral leaves, blossom flesh-colored, and hairy on the outer side. Native of the Cape of Good Hope. Reference to the plate. 1. A leaf. 2. A flower with its bract, 1 tip magnified. 3. Seed bud and pointal, summit magnified. 4. A branch of a slight variety. This protea is one of a fine section with small divided leaves, that very much resemble the southern wood, whence our specific title. We have already 4 drawings of distinct species, besides varieties, whose foliage is likewise characteristic of that shrub. On the same plate we have given part of the branch of a variety that we think bears too much resemblance to require a separate figure. Our drawing was made last July from plants in the Hibertian collection PG31 PG32 plate de Ain. Cactus grandiflorus. Large lowered Sirius. Class 12. Order Iicosandria monogenea. About 20 chives. 1 pointal. Essential generic character. Calyx monophyllous, superous, imbricatus. Corolla multiplex. Bacca monolocularis, polysperma. Impalement 1-leafed, above, tiled. Blossom of many folds. Berry of 1 loculament, many seeded. Specific character. Cactus scandens velripens, ramosus, articulatus, cum radicules lateralibus, ramus sex vel octagones, aculeos stillatos ferentibus. Calyx radiatus, flavus, corales albis. Flores magna, vespere expansi, odorum fragrantissimum excellence. Miller's icons, tab. 90 Sirius with a climbing or creeping stem, branching, jointed, with small side roots, branches 6 or 8 angled, bearing starry prickles. Impalement red and yellow. Blossom white. Flowers large, expanding in the evening, and breathing a most fragrant odor. Reference to the plate. 1. A flower divested of the petals, and spread open. This elegant hothouse plant has been figured by several authors, and is well known by the appellation of the night-blowing Sirius, and yet but few of Flora's lovely train, warmed by the midday sun's refulgent beams, in splendor can compare with this nocturnal beauty, whose brilliant flowers expand about sunset. But, alas! Too soon condemned to fade, they close up early on the following morn. Sometimes they have been found unclosed almost within an hour of noon, a circumstance that very rarely happens, as it generally displays its graceful blossoms to Cynthia's silver beams, perfuming the still cool air of midnight with its aromatic fragrance. Our figure was taken from a plant in the collection of the Dowager Lady de Clifford at Dudley Grove, Paddington PG33 PG34 plate dix. Gentiana fimbriata. Fringed flowered gentian. Class V Order 2. Pentandria digynia. 5 chives. 2 pointals. Essential generic character. Calyx monophyllous. Corolla monopetala. Capsula bivalvus, unilocularis, receptacules duobus longitudinalibus. Impalement 1-leafed. Blossom 1-petal. Capsule 2-valved, 1-celled, with 2 longitudinal receptacles. Specific character. Gentiana corales quadrivides, marginibus fimbriatus, color cerealio, in sol tantum expandentibus, spithymius, folius ovito-acuminates, oppositus, alternates. Habitat in America boreale. Gentian with blossoms 4-cleft, and fringed margins, of a blue color, expanding only in the sun, a span high, with ovate pointed leaves opposite and alternate. Native of North America. Reference to the plate. 1. The impalement. 2. A blossom spread open. 3. Seed bud and pointals. 4. The same spread open. This new and undescribed species of gentian possesses many attractions. Its flowers are of a fine shining purple-blue color, and remain a long time in perfection, but only expand with the assistance of solar ray. Our figure represents a group of seedling plants, just as we found them growing in a small pot in the nursery of Messrs. Whitley and Brahms, who inform me they raised them from seed, and they flowered the second year, but think they will only prove biennial PG35 PG36 plate DX. Aspalathus globosus. Round flowering Aspalathus. Class 17. Order 4. Diadelphia decandria. Threads in 2 sets. 10 chives. Essential generic character. Calyx quinquefitus. Corolla papilionacea. Legumen ovidum, ineristatum, subdispermum. Impalement 5-cleft. Blossom butterfly-shaped. Pod egg-shaped, beardless, nearly 2-seeded. Specific character. Aspalathus folius ramos vestientibus, linearibus, tomentoses, floribus terminalibus, in capitulo rotundato villiso convertus, corales fussus, ramus longuis, gracilibus. Aspalathus with leaves clothing the branches, linear, and downy, flowers terminal, crowded together in a round woolly head, blossom brown, branches long and slender. Reference to the plate. 1. A flower. 2. The impalement spread open. 3. The standard. 4. One of the wings. 5. The keel. 6. The chives. 7. The same magnified. 8. Seed bud and pointal. 9. The same magnified. This nondescript species of Aspalathus we have not seen in any collection but that of G. Hibbert, ESQ, where in the summer of 1801 it was in fine bloom, full 3 feet high, and its long pendulous branches gave it a very graceful appearance. Its compact globular heads of flowers remained a considerable time in perfection, but the close soft hair with which they were surrounded, indicated a delicacy of habit too susceptible of the damps which have since destroyed the plant, and we believe it is for the present lost to this country. PG37 PG38 plate DXI. Solanum betaceum. Beet like solanum. Class V. Order Ipentandria monogenea. 5 chives. 1 pointal. Essential generic character. Corolla rotata. Antheri subcollati, Apispores geminis, dehiscentes. Bacca bilocularis. Blossom wheel-shaped. Antheri nearly joined together, with holes in pairs at the point, and splitting. Berry 2-locular. Specific character. Solanum call inermi, erecto, maculate, altissimo, folius radicalibus permagnes, fetidicimes, corales carnis, patentibus, ad apicem subreflexus, Cucullatus est cavanillus icons, Volume 6. 15 tab. 524 nightshade with an unarmed stem, upright, spotted, and very tall. The radical leaves are very large, and extremely fetid. Blossoms flesh-colored, spreading, and somewhat reflexed at the point, which is hooded. Reference to the plate. 1. The impalement. 2. A blossom spread open. 3. Seed bud and pointle. 4. A transverse section of the seed bud magnified. This gigantic plant is by far the largest species of Solanum at present known. Our figure represents upper part of a plant that was 12 feet high, and the only one that ever flowered in this kingdom, in the collection of A. B. Lambert, ESQ, who informed me that the radical leaves measured 15 inches in breadth and 20 in length. There is but one figure of it extant, and that is in the icons of Cavanillus, who knew not whence it was indigenous, but it is supposed to be a native of South America. It thrives best against the shelter of a south wall in summer, but in winter requires the protection of the greenhouse. We have seen 2 plants of it in the collection at Holland House, the enormous size of whose foliage then indicated an equal magnitude with our plant when they arrive at a flowering state. At present it is very scarce, and likely so to continue from the extreme fetidity of the foliage. Upon burning a piece of the stalk, it displayed such a nitrous appearance as indicated it to be very strongly impregnated with saltpetre Pg39 Pg40 plate DXII. Protea pinnata. Winged-leaved protea. Class 4. Order I. Tetrandria monogenea. 4 chives. 1 pointle. Essential generic character. Corolla 4 phyta, SCU 4 petala. Antheri linears, petalis infraapices incerti. Calyx proprius, nullus. Semina solitaria. Blossom 4 cleft, or of 4 petals. Tips linear, inserted into the petals below the points. Cup proper, none. Seeds solitary. Specific character. Protea pinnata, Floribus glomerates, capitatus, terminalibus, Coryllis rubris, pilosus. Habitat ad caput boni spii. Protea with winged leaves, flowers grow in round terminal heads, blossoms red and hairy. Native of Cape of Good Hope. Reference to the plate. 1. The flower prop. 2. A blossom with one tip magnified. 3. Seed bud and pointle, summit magnified. This new species of Protea resembles in its flowers the P. glomerata, in its foliage the P. argentiflora, but altogether is very different from either. Like most of the genus, it is slow in growth, and remains a long time in perfection. Our drawing was made at the Hibertian collection the summer before last. We also observed it again last year, very near unfolding its flowers, but being later in the autumn than usual, most probably prevented their expansion. We are inclined to think this species is rather tender, and, like too many of this extensive family, requires great care and attention to preserve, a circumstance that most likely prevents their being in that request which their beauty and versatility would otherwise command. Pg41 Pg42 plate Z8. Cactus hexagonus. Great torch thistle. Class 12. Order I. Icosandria monogenea. About 20 chives. 1 pointle. Essential generic character. Calyx monophyllus, superus, imbricatus. Corolla multiplex. Bacca monolocularis, polysperma. Impalement 1-leafed, above, tiled. Blossom of many folds. Berry of 1 loculament, many seeded. Specific character. Cactus erectus, altissimus, maximus, sex et octagonus, angules distantibus, aculeos stellatos ferens. Calyx tubulosus, virides, coryllis radiatis, albis, petalis exterioribus laevator purpurae. Habitat in Suriname. Cactus hexagonus. Willed. SPPL cactus with an upright stem, tall and large, 6 and 8-sided, angles distant, bearing starry prickles. Impalement tubular, and green. Blossom rayed, and white, the outer petals slightly tinged with purple. Native of Suriname. Reference to the plate. 1. A flower divested of the petals, and cut open to the base of the tube. 2. The seed bud cut transversely. 3. One of the side shoots. 4. Miniature figure of the plant. No genus of plants more remarkable has yet been discovered than that to which our present subject belongs, whether we consider their simple succulent structure, strange diversity of form and habit, or the geometrical manner of their growth and disposition of their spines. Some of them, like the Opuntia and Ficus indica, grow like figs or cucumbers stuck one upon another. Others, like C. curasavicus, resemble a little cushion stuck full of pins with the points outwards. The C. melocactus and mammillaris are like melons covered with prickles. 1. The maniliformis has globular joints. The C. tuna, which Jacquin in his History of the Plants of America informs us is planted in the island of St. Eustatius round their towns as fortifications. The coccinellifer, and some others, have compressed ones. In C. philanthus they are two-edged. We have Cactus triangularis, tetragonus, pentagonus, and the hexagonus now figured, but which varies occasionally from 6 to 8. We also have 7-8, 9, 10, 14 and 15 angled species. Even their spines are regularly disposed in quinconexes. Monsieur Thierry, in his Voyage à Oaxaca, informs us that in Mexico he found whole forests of the cactus composed of 8 or 10 different species, from 40 to 50 feet high, and some of them 5 or 6 feet in circumference. Woe to the unfortunate traveler who is under them in a storm, when their thorny tops are dashed to the ground. His destruction is inevitable. In Mexico and Campeche, not only the fruits but the young shoots of most of the species of cacti are eaten. Ragouts are also made of the buds and unopened flowers. Even their seeds are made into bread, and that of the smaller sorts, as C. mammillaris, into tarts, of which Monsieur Thierry says he had tasted, and they were excellent. With the fruit of C. pitaya and that of C. tuna he supported himself when almost famished in traversing the sandy deserts. Professor Jacquin also informs us, that the fruits of all the species he found in America were eaten by the natives. The arts are likewise much indebted to the genus Cactus, as the cochineal insect, so essential in the formation of our fine lake and carmine colors, can only be bred upon the coccinellifer and some other species of cacti. Our figure represents a plant that flowered in the hothouse of Major Leves at Bury St. Edmunds. The living specimen, accompanied with an accurate miniature representation of the plant, was obligingly communicated by the Reverend G. R. Leves, who informs me that it was 17 feet high, that the bend at the top was owing to a want of room in its ascent, which subverted its otherwise naturally erect posture, that it began to flower in July, expanding about 5 in the afternoon, and was in the greatest perfection at midnight, but as the autumn advanced the flowers opened later and later, till at last in the month of October, by which time at least 30 had been produced, they did not open till 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning. It is increased by the side shoots, whose absence adds vigor to the plant, which is as hardy as any of the species, and may be kept in a greenhouse, but will not flower without the assistance of the hothouse, and even then is very rarely to be found in bloom. Pg 43 Pg 44 Plate DXIV. Paeonia anomala. Anomalous-leaved peony. Class 13. Order V. Polyandria pentagoniae. Many chives. 5 pointals. Essential generic character. Calyx 5 phyllis. Petala 5. Styli 0. Capsuli polyspermy. Cup 5 leaved. Petals 5. Pointal none. Capsules many seeded. Specific character. Paeonia foliis bidernates, multipartitis, folioles lanceolates, undulates, glabras, corales laet purpurae, depressus, capsules glabras. Habitat in Tota Siberia. Peony with bidernate leaves, many parted. Leaflets lance-shaped, waved, and smooth. Blossom of a bright purple, depressed. Capsules smooth. Native throughout Siberia. Reference to the plate. 1. The impalement shown from the outer side. 2. Seed buds, chives, and pointals. Our figure represents a fine and at present very rare species of peony, not only ornamental in its flowers, but useful in its roots, which are eaten by the Mongolians in Tartary, at their meals, as vegetables. It flowered for the first time in this country in the month of July 1807 in the garden of Mr. J. Bell, near Brentford PG 45 PG 46 plate DXV. Cananchum mucranatum. Mucranate-leaved Cananchum. Class V Order 2. Pentandria digynia. 5 chives. 2 pointals. Essential generic character. Contortium. Nectarium cylindricum, quinquedentatum. Contorted. Honeycup cylindrical, 5-toothed. Specific character. Cananchum col scandente, piloso, folias subcordatus, apis mucranates, floribus axillaribus, in umbellus proliferus, corales purpurae et virescentibus, oris lacinius acutus, tortus, reflexus. Habitat in Insula Trinidada. Cananchum with a hairy climbing stem. Leaves nearly heart-shaped, with a mucranated end. Flowers axillary, in proliferous umbels. Blossoms purple and greenish. Segments of the border pointed, twisted, and bent back. Native of the island of Trinidad. Reference to the plate. 1. The impalement. 2. The blossom spread open. 3. The parts of fructification magnified. 4. The outer scale of the honey cup. 5. The inner of the same. 6. The seed bud, shaft, summit and chives, magnified. This handsome new species of Cananchum was introduced by Lord Seaforth, who informs us that it is a native of the island of Trinidad. It flowered with A. B. Lambert, ESQ at Royston House, last June, for the first time in England, and is not as yet in any other collection. It is very free grower, running to a great length, with many umbels of flowers, which succeed each other during most part of the summer. PG 47 PG 48 plate DXVI. Astragalus villosus. Hairy Astragalus. Class 17. Order 4. Diadelphia decandria. 2 brotherhoods. 10 chives. Essential generic character. Legumen plurump biloculare, gibbum. Semina bicerealia. A pod mostly toothed-celled, bunched. Seeds in 2 rows. Specific character. Astragalus col humili villoso, folias pinnatis, folioles 20 to 30, oblonges, geminis, villosus, petioles longissimis, villosus, floribus aggregatus viride flavus, leguminibus oblonges, lanates. Astragalus with a low hairy stem. Leaves winged. Leaflets 20 to 30, oblong, in pairs, and villous. Footstalk of the leaves very long, and hairy. Flowers in bunches, of a greenish yellow. Pod oblong, and woolly. Reference to the plate. 1. The impalement. 2. The standard. 3. One of the wings. 4. The keel. 5. The chives. 6. The same spread open. 7. Seed bud and pointal. 8. The same shown from the underside. The figure of this handsome hardy perennial shrub was delineated from a plant in the collection of J. Swainson, Esq. at Twickenham, where it was raised from seed received from Vienna in the year 1805, under the title of Astragalus excapus, but upon comparison with the figures extant of that species, we could not with propriety rank it under that denomination, especially as it bears as much or more resemblance to some of the surrounding species of that extensive family, 170. 4 of which are already enumerated by Willdenow. It is a plant of very humble growth, but by no means stemless, and produces flowers in abundant succession during the months of July and August. Pg 49 Pg 50 Platexii. Protea imbricata. Imbricated leaved Protea. Class 4. Order I Tetrandria monogenea. 4 chives. 1 pointal. Essential generic character. Corolla 4 phyta, SCU 4 petals. Antheri linears, petalis infraapices incerti. Calyx proprius, nullus. Semina solitaria. Blossom 4 cleft, or of 4 petals. Tips linear, inserted into the petals below the points. Cup proper, none. Seeds solitary. Specific character. Protea folius imbricatus, lanceolates, nervosus, pilosus, floribus terminalibus, confertum capitatus, villosus. Habitat ad caput boni spii. Thun. Dissertation 45. T5. F2. Protea with imbricated leaves, lance-shaped, nerved, and hairy, flowers terminal, in crowded heads, and hairy. Native of the Cape of Good Hope. Reference to the plate. 1. A leaf magnified. 2. An umbel of flowers. 3. A chive magnified. 4. Seed bud and pointal. This Cape species is described and figured by Thunberg in his dissertation on the genus Protea. It is rather a tender plant, and flowers at first very sparingly, which is the case with almost all this tribe for the first year or two. After they are more familiarized to our climate they become much more prolific. We have seen native specimens of this species abundant in flowers terminating every branch. Our figure was made from a plant in the conservatory of G. Hibbert, Esq. whose collection still contains unrivaled the greatest number of new and beautiful species of Protea. Pg 51 Pg 52 Platexii. Magnolia grandiflora. Larger flowered magnolia. Class 13. Order 7. Polyandria polygynia. Many chives. Many pointals. Essential generic character. Calyx 3 phyllis. Petala 6 to 12. Capsulae 2 valves, imbricati. Semina baccata, pendula. Cup 3 leaved. Petals 6 to 12. Capsules 2 valved, tiled. Seeds buried, pendulous. Specific character. Magnolia folius persistentibus, lanceolates, obtusis, marginibus cartilaginis, superviridilucides, subtus ferrugineus, corales magnus, crassus, albis, odoratissimis. Habitat in Florida et Carolina meridionally. Magnolia with leaves persistent, lance-shaped, and blunt, with cartilaginous margins of a shining green on the upper surface, and rusty-colored beneath. Blossoms large, thick, white, and very sweet-scented. Native of Florida and South Carolina. Reference to the plate. 1. The chives and pointals. 2. A chive. 3. The same shown from the outer side. This odoriferous plant is figured by Catesby in his Caroliniensis, who describes it as a stately tree 80 feet high, that it perfumes the woods with its fragrance, that its fruit is of a glittering red, not falling immediately to the ground, but hanging pendulous by small white threads about 2 inches long, in which state it must still be a beautiful object. It very rarely, if ever, perfects its seed in this country. Independent of its fine large sweet-scented flowers, it is a handsome evergreen. There are several variations of it in foliage. It succeeds well, trained up against a south wall. From a plant so situated, on the premises of Messrs. Whitley and Brahms, our figure was delineated PG 53 PG 54 plate DXIX. Commersonia echinida. Bristly fruited Commersonia. Class V Order V Pentandria pentagoniae. 5 chives. 5 pointals. Generic character. Calyx monophyllous, 5 pertitus. Corolla. Petala 5, line aria, base lobata, apis inflexa. Nectarium 5 perticum. Stamina. Filamenta 5, brevissima, ad basin petalorum. Antheri subrotundi, parvi. Germen globosum, villosum. Styli 5, breves, approximates. Stigma globosum. Capsula dura, cetacea, sedes longuis, pilosus, 5 locularibus, loculamentus dispermus. Semina ovida. Impalement 1-leafed, 5-parted. Blossom. Petals 5, linear, lobed at the base, and turned inward at the point. Nectarium 5-parted. Chives. Threads 5, very short, at the base of the petals. Tips nearly round, and small. Seed bud globular and villose. Shafts 5, short, and approximating. Summit headed. Capsule hard and bristly. Bristles long and hairy, 5 locular, the loculaments 2-seeded. Seeds ovate. Reference to the plate. 1. The impalement. 2. The petals and honey cups. 3. A petal and chives, magnified. 4. Seed bud and pointals. 5. The capsule spread open. 6. One of the loculaments divested of the bristles. 7. The same split open, one seed detached. This fragrant plant was named by Forster after Commerson, the celebrated botanist, who accompanied Bougainville in his voyage round the world, and explored the coasts of Brazil and Buenos Aires, the Straits of Magellan, and the islands of Otaheite, New Britain, Buro, Java, and the Mauritius, for the space of 7 years, and returned to France with a herbarium of above 3,000 species, amongst which were many new genera, all which, together with his manuscripts, are preserved in the Museum of Natural History at Paris. Duplicates of them were by him sent to Linnaeus, and are now in the possession of Dr. Smith, President of the Linnean Society. Our drawing was made from a plant, the only one at present in the kingdom, in the hothouse of A. B. Lambert, Esq. Boyton House, who informs me that it flowered with him the 2nd year from seed, in great abundance, and continued in flower all the summer, during the warmer part of which it was extremely fragrant, which renders it a valuable addition to our collection of stove plants. The flowers for several weeks proved abortive, owing to their very singular construction, in which the short stamina are completely excluded from the pistillum. As a remedy for this, Mr. Lambert introduced a hive of bees into the hothouse, which soon produced the desired effect, as in 3 or 4 days after the germans began to swell. The form of the leaves varies exceedingly, particularly whilst the plant is young, coming sometimes much broader and with 2 side lobes, which has been mistaken by some for a different species. Almost every part of the plant is villous. Rumpius informs us, in his Herbarium Amboinance, that the Commersonia grows to a tree in the Moluccas, and is so plentiful that its wood is in common use as deal, that the bark is manufactured into matches, and that the bruised leaves smell like the flowers of the Sampaka, which is considered by the natives as one of the sweetest flowers in India. It is a native of Amboina, New Caledonia and other islands in the South Seas. PG 55 PG 56 Plate DXX. Euosma albiflora. White-flowered Euosma. Class V Order Ipentandria monogenea. 5 chives. 1 pointal. Generic character. Calyx persistens, Basibracteatus, Quinquepertitus, Lacinius subrotundus oppressus. Corolla campanulata, limbo patent 5 lobo. Stamina quinque tubo incerta, inclusa, divisoris coralli alterna, filamenta brevia, antheri subrotundi, compresi. Germen superum, subovidum, stylus crassus, brevis, stigma capitatum. Capsula glabra cuneato ovida, stylo persistent coronata, bisulca, dicoca, cocculi bivalves polyspermi, intus ad apices dehiscentes, receptacula in singulo cocculo cingulum, subtrigonum, longum, erectum, marginibus valvarum annexum. Semina ovida, hin convexa, in depressa pupillus minutissimis undix scabra, dupliciceria receptaculo imposita. Impalement persistent, bracteate at the base, 5-parted, with the divisions nearly round, and lying close. Blossom bell-shaped, the mouth spreading 5-lobed. Chives 5 inserted in the tube and included, alternate with the divisions of the blossom, threads short, tips nearly round, compressed. Seed bud above, oval, shaft thick and short, summit simple-headed. Fruit a dry capsule of an oval wedge shape, 2-furrowed, dividing into 2 parts, and crowned with the persistent shaft. Each part is 2-valved and many-seeded, opening on the inside at the top, receptacles for the seeds 1 in each cell. They are long, 3-sided and erect, lying upon the edges of the valves. Seeds oval, convex on one side and depressed on the other, everywhere rough with minute tubercles, and placed upon the receptacle in a double series. Reference to the plate. 1. The impalement. 2. A blossom. 3. The same spread open. 4. Seed bud and pointal. 5. The same magnified. 6. The capsule. 7. The same split into 2 divisions. 8. One of the divisions uncovered, to show the situation of the seed. 9. A ripe seed. The specimen of this new and very distinct genus was communicated April the 11th by the Marquis of Blandford from a fine plant in his lordship's collection at White Knights, planted against a wall on a south aspect, about 4 feet high, and nearly covered with blossoms. Its great fragrance, more resembling that of the May, Crataegus oxyacantha, than anything else we are acquainted with, makes the plant very desirable to collectors, and the more so, that it is hardy enough to bear our winters without the shelter of a greenhouse, and blossoms so early in spring. This fragrant shrub is a native of New Holland in the neighborhood of Port Jackson, from whence we have seen fine specimens in the collection of A. B. Lambert, Esq. who favored us with the ripe fruit. Who first introduced the plant, we have not been able to learn, but have seen it in several collections. PG 57 PG 58 Plate DXXI. Areospermum folioliferum. Leaflet-bearing Areospermum. Class 6. Order Ihexandria monogenea. 6 chives. 1 pointal. Generic character. Calyx nullus. Corolla. Petala sex basiconida, subtus lanceolata, acuta, tria exteriora patula, tria interiora erecta, cum limbo acuto paculo connivent. Omnia post impregnationem erecta, in magem coni. Stamina. Filamenta sex, late lanceolata, acuta, plana, apicibus intersum velutis. Antheri oblongi, incumbents. Pistilum. Germen superum, subrotundum, trisulcatum. Stylus filiformis, erectus. Stigma obtusum. Pericarpium. Capsula triloba, trilocularis, trivalvus. Semina pauca, lanceolata, acuta, pilis tomentosis abscessa. Impalement none. Blossom. 6 petals approaching together at the base, beneath lance-shaped and pointed, the 3 outer ones spreading, the 3 inner ones upright, with a pointed wide approaching border. All after impregnation stand upright, like a cone. Chives. 6 threads broadly lance-shaped, pointed, and flat, with the points turned inward. Tips oblong, and lying on them. Pointal. Seed bud above, nearly round, 3 furrowed. Shaft thread-shaped, upright. Summit blunt. Seed vessel. Capsule 3-lobed, 3-locular, 3-valved. Seeds few, lance-shaped, pointed, and covered with downy hairs. Specific character. Areospermum folius subcordatus, Supernfolia parva erecta linguiformia, Filamentus albis parvus abscessa, Firentibus. Flora spicata, laxi. Corolla lutea, viride striata. Habitat in caput boni spii. Areospermum with nearly heart-shaped leaves, bearing on their upper surface little upright tongue-shaped leaflets beset with small white threads. Flowers grow in a loose spike. Blossom yellow, striped with green. Native of the Cape of Good Hope. Reference to the plate. 1 chives and pointal. 2 a chive magnified. 3 seed bud and pointal. 4 seed bud cut transversely, magnified. This curious Cape plant is not at present, we believe, in any other collection in this kingdom than that of G. Hibbert, ESQ, where we first observed it in the autumn of 1806. It was not then in bloom, but flowered the following summer. It is by no means specious in its flowers, but very interesting in the singularity of its foliage, whose uncommon structure is very distinct from any plant we have ever seen. Mr. Knight, the botanic gardener, informs me that it increases from the root, but not abundantly, and, like most Cape bulbs, is in a dormant state during the latter part of autumn, at which time it should be watered very sparingly. It appears rather impatient of having its roots often disturbed. Once in 2 or 3 years is necessary, not only to renew the earth, but to take off any small bulbs it may have produced. It delights to grow in a light loamy or peaty soil, and should stand in an elevated part of the greenhouse, to enjoy a full circulation of air. Pg 59 Pg 60 plate Xi. Protea abrotanifolia hirta. Hairy southernwood-leaved protea. Class 4. Order Itetrandria monogenea. 4 chives. 1 pointal. Essential generic character. Corolla 4 phyta, SCU 4 petala. Antheri linears, petalis infraapices inserti. Calyx proprius, nullus. Semina solitaria. Blossom 4 cleft, or of 4 petals. Tips linear, inserted into the petals below the points. Cup proper, none. Seeds solitary. Specific character. Protea folius bipinnatus, filiformibus, pilosus, floribus ramos terminantibus in umbellus convertus, peduncules brevissimis, bractes erectes, corales pallid carnis. Stigmata nigra. Habitat ad caput boni spii. Protea with doubly winged leaves, thread-shaped, and hairy. Flowers terminate the branches in crowded umbels. Footstalks very short. Floral leaves upright. Blossoms of a pale flesh color. Summit of the pointal black. Native of the Cape of Good Hope. Reference to the plate. 1 a flower prop. 2 the chives spread open. 3 a chive magnified. 4 seed bud and pointal, summit magnified. This hairy-leaved protea resembles the Pia bratanifolia, PL 507, but is upon examination very distinct. The flowers are of a pale rose color, but have a lively appearance from the contrasted blackness of the stigma. It is a round bushy plant, flowering early in the autumn, requiring the same treatment as the generality of those species with small divided leaves. Our figure was made from a plant in the Hibertian collection PG61 PG62 plate Xeeth. Gorteria pavonia. Peacock Gorteria. Class 19. Order 4. Syngenisia polygamia necessaria. Tips united. Necessary pointals. Essential generic character. Receptaculum nudum. Pupus lanatus. Corolla radiata, lingulata. Calyx monophyllus, squamous imbricatus tectus. Receptacle naked. Down woolly. Blossom rayed, tongue-shaped. Impalement one-leafed, covered with imbricated scales. Specific character. Gorteria foliis pinnatis, folioles equalibus, ovates, marginibus revolutus, pilosus, subtus albis, petalis radii magnus, aurantius, ad basin elegante ornotatus. Caulis herbaceous. Gorteria with winged leaves. The leaflets are equal, ovate, rolled back at the edges, hairy, and white beneath, petals of the ray large, of a gold color, and elegantly marked at the base. Stem herbaceous. Reference to the plate. 1. The impalement. 2. One of the radiating petals. 3. The same shown from the underside. 4. A petal as it appears when rolled up. 5. A floret of the disc. 6. The seed bud and pointal. This new species of Gorteria stands foremost in the ranks of beauty whilst expanded by the solar ray, whose absence is soon visible in the plant by the rolling up of the petals, but on the following morn, when the sun's beams begin to warm the vegetable world, they again unfold themselves with undiminished luster, and so continue successively for near a fortnight. Our drawing was made from a fine plant in the nursery of Mr. Harrison at Brompton. We also observed it in bloom at Messrs. Colville's, from whom, to complete the dissections, we received a flower, which, although it had been a week in bloom, continued to perform its diurnal evolutions, in a glass of water, of rolling up and expanding for nearly a week longer, but only from 11 till 1 in the day, a shorter time, most probably owing to its being kept in a room whose northern aspect prevented the exhilarating rays of Phoebus from approaching. It was introduced from the Cape of Good Hope by G. Hibbert, ESQ about the year 1804, and considered as biennial PG 63 PG 64 plate Xiv. Lachnia buxifolia. Box-leaved Lachnia. Class 8. Order Ioctandria monogenea. 8 chives. 1 pointal. Essential generic character. Calyx nullus. Corolla quadrifida, limbo inequale. Semen unum, subbacatum. Cup none. Blossom 4 cleft, border unequal. 1 seed, nearly buried. Specific character. Lachnia foliis ovates, glabrous, glossus, floribus in capitulas globosus, corales albis, odoratis. Caulis teres, longissimus. Habitat ad caput boni spii. Lachnia with ovate, smooth, glaucous leaves. Flowers in globular heads. Blossoms white, and sweet-scented. Stem round, and very long. Native of the Cape of Good Hope. Reference to the plate. 1. A blossom spread open. 2. The seed bud and pointal. 3. The flower receptacle. This fragrant species of Lachnia is the L. buxifolia of Lamarck, and the Nydia filamentissa of Linnaeus, but certainly not Anidia, as it wants the 4 small inner petals, the distinguishing feature and most essential distinction between those two genera. Our figure delineates a plant in the conservatory of G. Hibbert, ESQ, that was upwards of 5 feet high, and interspersed amongst some fine bushy shrubs. Its compact flowers and delicate glaucous foliage gave it a picturesque appearance. PG 65 PG 66 plate DXXV. Podalyria hirsuta. Hairy Podalyria. Class X, Order Idocandria monogenea. 10 chives. 1 pointal. Essential generic character. Calyx subbilabiatus, quinquefitus. Corolla papilionacea. Ali vexilli longitudine. Legumen ventricosum, polyspermum. Impalement nearly bilabiate, 5 cleft. Blossom butterfly shaped. Wings the length of the standard. Pod ventricose, and many seeded. Specific character. Podalyria foliis simplicibus, hirsutis, ovades vel oblonges, corales magnus, purpurace, plerunc simplicibus, peduncules longes, ramus terretibus, pilosus. Podalyria with simple, hairy leaves, ovate or oblong. Blossoms large and purple, mostly single. Footstalks long. Branches round and hairy. Reference to the plate. 1. The impalement. 2. The standard. 3. One of the wings. 4. The keel. 5. Chives and pointal. 6. The chives spread open. 7. Seed bud and pointal. Podalyria is a section of the genus Sephora, separated from it by Lamarck, and named after the son of Aesculapius, the celebrated physician who accompanied the Grecians in their famous expedition against Troy. This species, we have little doubt, is the P. hirsuta, an unfigured species, enumerated by Willdenow, although by some it is thought to be distinct from it, on account of the leaves being somewhat longer, the flowers of a finer color, differences, we think, accounted for in the latitude of growth resulting from varied modes of culture. Our drawing was made from a plant raised from Cape seed, by Messrs. Whitley and Brahms, in the year 1806. PG 67 PG 68 plate XI. Protea cespitosa. Turfy Protea. Class 4. Order Itetrandria monogenea. 4 chives. 1 pointal. Essential generic character. Corolla 4 phyta, SCU 4 petala. Antheri linears, petalis infraapices inserti. Calyx proprius, nullus. Semina solitaria. Blossom 4 cleft, or of 4 petals. Tips linear, inserted into the petals below the points. Cup proper, none. Seeds solitary. Specific character. Protea foliis rigidis, lanceolates, pilosus, undulates, glabrous, patentibus, apis ascendent, supraconvexus, infraconcavis, capitulo globoso, terminally, corales ferrugineus, squamous pilosus, intern laet rubris. Caulis humilis. Habitat ad caput boni spii. Protea with rigid, lance-shaped, hairy leaves, waved, smooth, and spreading, with an ascending point, convex above, and concave beneath, head of flowers globular, and terminal. Blossoms of a rusty color. Scales hairy, and of a bright red on the inside. Stem low. Native of the Cape of Good Hope. Reference to the plate. 1. A flower complete. 2. Seed bud and pointal. This new dwarf protea is named from its sod or turf-like appearance. Although of low and humble growth, it is by no means deficient in attraction. The inner side of the imbricating scales is of a fine red, which is a great addition to its beauty whilst expanded, but in our plant this was of short duration, occasioned by the pressure of the leaves from the rapid growth of the surrounding side shoots. Our figure was made from the Hibertian collection PG69 PG70 Platexii. Rulia fulgida. Bright flowered Rulia. Class 4. Order I Tetrandria monogenea. 4 chives. 1 pointal. Essential generic character. Calyx 5 pertitus. Corolla monopetala, limbo 5 lobo, inequale. Stamina biconjugata. Stylus filiformis. Stigma bifidum. Capsula disepamentis dentatis, elasticis, dehiscentibus. Semina pauca. Impalement 5 parted. Blossom 1 petal, border 5 lobed, unequal. Chives by pairs. Shaft thread-shaped. Summit 2 cleft. Capsule with the partitions toothed, elastic, and splitting. Seeds few. Specific character. Rulia folius petiolatus, ovatoacuminates, undulates, pilosus, crenates, peduncules axillaribus, cum multis floribus tubiformibus. Rulia with petiolated leaves ovately pointed, waved, hairy, and scalloped. Footstalks axillary, with many long trumpet-shaped flowers. Reference to the plate. 1. The impalement. 2. A blossom spread open. 3. Seed bud and pointal. 4. The capsule. 5. The same split open. 6. A ripe seed. This new and beautiful species of Rulia was introduced by Lord Seaforth from the West Indies, and flowered in Mr. Lambert's stove at Boyton, in June 1807, for the first time in England, and continued, as he informs us, to flower during the greatest part of the summer, ripening its seeds in abundance, and being easily propagated by cuttings PG71 PG72 Platexii. Ornithogalum elatum. Lofty Ornithogalum. Class 6. Order I Hexandria monogenea. 6 chives. 1 pointal. Essential generic character. Corolla 6 petala, persistens. Filamenta basi dilatata. Capsula 3 locularis. Semina subrotunda, nuda. Blossom 6 petaled, remaining. Threads widened at the base. Capsule 3 tricellid. Seeds roundish and naked. Specific character. Ornithogalum folius lanceolates, floribus in racemo longissimo crescentibus, albis et parvis, staminibus longitudinem corollarum fer equantibus. Ornithogalum with lance-shaped leaves. Flowers grow on a very long spike, are white and small. The stamens scarcely the length of the blossoms. Reference to the plate. 1. A petal and chive. 2. A chive shown from the outer side. 3. Seed bud and pointal. 4. The same magnified. This tall and delicate plant was introduced by J. M. Cripps, Esq., who found the roots in Egypt on the plains of Alexandria, near the spot where the famous battle was fought in the year 1801, and from one which he planted in his garden at Stanton in Sussex our drawing was made. It agrees in habit with the Ornithogalum latifolium, but is perfectly distinct both in the blossoms and foliage from that species. The plant which our figure represents had already produced 4 side bulbs. It flowered in March last, and appears to propagate freely PG73 PG74 Platexii. Nidraria scoberi. Schober's Nidraria. Class 11. Order I Dodecandria monogenea. 12 chives. 1 pointal. Generic character. Corolla 5 petala, cucullata. Calyx 5 fidus. Stamina 15. Drupa 1 sperma. Blossom 5 petaled, hooded. Impalement 5 cleft. Chives 15. Berry 1 seed. Specific character. Nidraria foliis integerrimes, obtusis. Habitat in Siberia. Palaces flora rassica, volume itab. 50 Nidraria with entire leaves, blunt. Native of Siberia. Reference to the plate. 1. The impalement. 2. A petal. 3. Seed bud, chives, and pointle. 4. A chive magnified. 5. Seed bud and pointle. 6. The same magnified. This species of Nidraria is named after Schober, a physician and lover of botany in Russia. It grows in the barren salt deserts near the Caspian Sea, particularly about the salt lakes in Siberia, and is also found in Astrakhan. It bears reddish berries of a salt taste, is a very rare plant in our gardens, but successfully cultivated by Mr. Bell, who not only put salt to the roots, but also on the foliage. From a plant of his thus treated our drawing was made last summer. Only one more species of the genus has yet been discovered, PG75 PG76 plate DXXX. Bignonia uncata. Hooked Bignonia. Class 14. Order 2. Didynamia angiospermia. 2 chives longer. Seeds covered. Essential generic character. Calyx 5 Fidus, Cyathiformis. Corolla fos campanulata, 5 Fida, subtus ventricosa. Siliqua bilocularis. Semina membranacea, alida. Impalement 5 cleft, cup-shaped. Blossom bell-shaped at the mouth, 5 cleft and bellied beneath. A pod of 2 cells. Seeds winged, with a skinny membrane. Specific character. Bignonia foliis conjugatus, longo-lanceolates, acuminates, et tribaciris acutus uncatus. Bignonia with conjugate, long-lanced, acuminate leaves, and 3 hooked sharp tendrils. Reference to the plate. 1. The impalement. 2. A flower spread open, the segments of the border cut off. 3. Seed bud and pointle. This new species of Bignonia flowered for the first time in England in the stove of A. B. Lambert, Esq. Boyton. We have seen it, but not in flower, in other collections, and have heard it called by the specific title of ophthalmica, but as no reason could be assigned for that appellation within the reach of our inquiry, we have named it from its hooked tendrils. It is an autumnal flowering plant running to a great length, with frequent blossoms, is a native of Cayenne, and was introduced by Lord Seaforth PG77 PG78 plate C. Veronica Dierwentia. New Holland Veronica. Class 2. Order Idiandria monogenea. 2 chives. 1 pointle. Essential generic character. Corolla limbo 4 partito, Lacinius infames angustioribus. Capsula bilocularis. Blossom, border 4-parted. Lowest segments narrower. Capsule 2 locular. Specific character. Veronica foliis lanceolates, oppositus, alternus, dentatis, floribus spicatis, axillaribus, corales parvis, pallid violaces, fragrantissimis. Veronica with leaves lance-shaped, opposite, alternate, and toothed. Flowers grow in spikes from the axillae of the leaves. Blossoms small, of a pale violet color, and very fragrant. Reference to the plate. 1. The impalement. 2. A blossom spread open. 3. Seed bud and pointle. This new species of Veronica was communicated to us by A. B. Lambert, Esq. It is a native of Botany Bay on the banks of the Derwent, and was sent over by one of the settlers. The abundance and agreeable fragrance of its flowers render it deserving a place in any collection. PG 79 PG 80 plate CE. Protea humiflora. Low flowering protea. Class 4. Order I Tetrandria monogenea. 4 chives. 1 pointal. Essential generic character. Corolla 4 phyta, SCU 4 petala. Antheri linears, petalis infraapices incerti. Calyx proprius, nullus. Semina solitaria. Blossom 4 cleft, or of 4 petals. Tips linear, inserted into the petals below the points. Cup proper, none. Seeds solitary. Specific character. Protea folius lanceolates, ramus plurimis ascendentibus, floribus confertus, procumbentibus. Habitat ad caput boni spii. Protea with lance-shaped leaves, with many ascending branches. Flowers crowded together, and lying on the ground. Native of the Cape of Good Hope. Reference to the plate. 1. A flower complete. 2. Seed bud and pointal, summit magnified. Of this perfectly new species of Protea we have represented the entire plant, just as we found it growing in the conservatory of G. Hibbert, ESQ, where it has flowered for the first time in this country. In the flowers it resembles the P. cordata, in its foliage the P. canaliculata, allied to each and yet removed from both. The procumbent situation of its crowded blossoms gives a singularity to its appearance, and altogether it is certainly a very interesting species. It should be planted in a light loamy soil, and kept in an airy part of the greenhouse. PG81 PG82 plate Tzeeth. Cactus coccinellifer. Cochineal torch thistle. Class 12. Order I Icosandria monogenea. About 20 chives. 1 pointal. Essential generic character. Calyx monophyllous, superous, imbricatus. Corolla multiplex. Bacca monolocularis, polysperma. Impalement one-leafed, above, tiled. Blossom of many folds. Berry of one loculament, many-seeded. Specific character. Cactus prolifero articulatus, articules ovito-oblongis, subinermibus. Habitat in Mexico. Tuna cochineal lifer dill. Elf. Tab. 297 serious proliferous jointed. Joints are of an ovate and oblong form, and nearly unarmed. Native of Mexico. Reference to the plate. 1. A flower cut open. 2. The same shown from the outer side. 3. A longitudinal section of the seed bud. 4. The cochineal insect as retailed in the shops. 5. The same shown from the underside. 6. A larger and darker sort. 7. The same shown from the underside and magnified. Cactus coccinellifer is a native of Mexico, where the principal culture of cochineal is situated, under the torrid zone, where little or no rain falls during half the year, from the beginning of October to about the end of March, as rain destroys the insects, and is injurious to the plants. The drier the soil is, the better they succeed, as their roots are very impatient of water. Although the insects are found naturally upon the plant in those climates, the cultivators, we are informed, always stock their young plantations with insects of their own rearing, which are larger and finer than the wild sort, and give a more brilliant color. These they breed under sheds in the rainy season, and, when the spring commences, always fresh stock their plantations, scattering a few breeding insects upon each plant, and in a few days the surface appears speckled over with them, each bringing about 300 at a birth. In 2 months after they begin to collect, by scraping the insects from the bark with the blunt edge of a knife, nor need they any other preparation than immersion for half a minute in boiling water, which is done by dipping them in a kind of sieve, and afterwards drying them in the sun, or by a common fire. 3 collections in this manner are generally made in 6 months, fresh breeding insects being always replaced upon the plants after gathering. Other species of cacti also breed the insects, but this is always preferred, as a man can gather from the coccinellifer 10 pounds a day, while from the tuna, opuntia, and other thorny species, he could not gather 2 ounces. The plants are generally placed in lines from north to south, that both sides may have the benefit of the sun, and they consider them fit to bear insects at the age of 18 months. Although it is neither a new nor a rare plant, yet as an interesting one, and rarely seen in blossom in England, we presume it will be acceptable to our readers, nor is there any tolerable figure of it which we have seen, unless that of Dilneus in the Hortus elthamensis, which is not in everybody's hands. Our drawing was made in July 1808, at the Countess de Van's collection at Bayswater pg 83 pg 84 plate Civ. Juniperus dorica. Dorian juniper. Class XXII. Order 13. Dioecia monadelphia. Chives and pointils on different plants. Monadelphus. Generic character. Asterisk masculi flores. Amentum ovidum. Calyx squamosus. Corolla nulla. Stamina 3. Asterisk fominae flores. Calyx 3 pertitus. Petala 3. Bacca 3 sperma, tubulata, tuberculata. Calyx inequalis. Asterisk male flowers. Catkin egg-shaped. Impalement squamous. Blossom none. Chives 3. Asterisk female flowers. Impalement 3 parted. Petals 3. Shaft 3. Berry 3 seeded, hollowed, and a little swelled. Cup unequal. Specific character. Juniperus folius oppositus, acutus, imbricatus, decurrongibus, passim patulus, subulates. Palisus flora rossica, Volume 2. p. 13. Tab. 55 Juniper with opposite leaves, acute, imbricated, and decurrent, here and there spreading, and all shaped. Reference to the plate. 1. A female flower magnified. 2. Seed bud and pointils, magnified. 3. A berry. 4. The same cut in two, with the seed detached. The plant here figured is from the Arboretum of the Marquis of Blandford at White Knights, where we first noticed it in 1806, growing in the greatest perfection, and bearing abundance of fruit, which it still continues to do annually, and being a finer species than any we before possessed, is an interesting addition to our collections of hardy evergreens. It agrees perfectly with the figure and description in the Flora Rossica, and also with the original specimen in the Paulasian Herbarium, now in the possession of A. B. Lambert, Esq. The plant from which our figure was taken is above 12 feet high, and wide in proportion. The male plant we have not seen. Gmelin informs us, in his History of the Plants of Siberia, that in the town of Geniska the Cossacks burn the twigs of this plant to fumigate those who are afflicted with obscure diseases, or those which they superstitiously suppose to be excited by devils, of whose agency they are extremely credulous, and whom they believe to be pacified with smoke and hideous noises, as being congenial to their own nature. pg 85 pg 86 plate DXXXV. Tropiolum pinnidum. Winged nasturtium. Class 8. Order Ioctandria monogenea. 8 chives. 1 pointil. Generic character. Calyx 1 phyllis, calcaritus. Petala 4 to 5, inequalia. Nuces 3, coriaceae. Impalement 1 leafed, spurred. Petals 4 or 5, unequal. Kernels 3, coriaceous. Specific character. Tropiolum folius subpeltatus, lobes obtusis, inequalibus, floribus pinnatis, petalis quinqua, cunatis, apis dentatis. Nasturtium with leaves nearly shield-shaped. Lobes obtuse, and unequal. Flowers winged. Petals 5, wedge-shaped, and toothed at the end. Reference to the plate. 1. A flower spread open. 2. Seed bud, chives, and pointle. 3. Seed bud and pointle. This nondescript and beautiful species of nasturtium we met with in the select collection of the Countess de Vannes at Bayswater. Our figure represents the entire plant, but by whom introduced, or whence a native, we have not been able to learn. It appears to succeed well with the treatment usual to other tropilums, and, if it should seed with us, will no doubt be abundantly cultivated for the brilliance of its elegant little blossoms. It flowers during the summer months pg 87 pg 88 plate C. Protea abrotanifolia, minor. Small southernwood-leaved protea. Class 4. Order Itetrandria monogenea. 4 chives. 1 pointle. Essential generic character. Corolla 4 phyta, SCU 4 petala. Antheri linears, petalis infraapices incerti. Calyx proprius, nullus. Semina solitaria. Blossom 4 cleft, or of 4 petals. Tips linear, inserted into the petals below the points. Cup proper, none. Seeds solitary. Specific character. Protea folius trifurcatus, filiformibus, acutus, floribus parvus, ramos terminantibus in umbellus convertus. Habitat ad caput boni spii. Protea with leaves 3 forked, thread-shaped, and pointed. Flowers small, and terminate the branches in crowded umbels. Native of the Cape of Good Hope. Reference to the plate. 1. A leaf. 2. A bract. 3. A flower, 1 tip magnified. 4. Seed bud and pointle. Throughout this small divided-leaved section of the genus Protea there is a similarity of appearance in the foliage, that makes the specific differences appear less distinct than they really are. The small flowered species is a compact bushy little shrub, about 14 inches high, and nearly the same in width, requiring a light sandy loam, free access of air, and a little attention to preserve it from the partial humidity of the atmosphere pg 89 pg 90 plate Ci. Oreganum tourniforti. Tourniforts oreganum. Class 14. Order Ididinamia gymnospermia. 2 chives longer. Seeds naked. Generic character. Strobilus tetragonus, spicatus, calyces colligens. Coralli labium superius erectum, inferius 3 perticum, lacinius equalibus. Head of flowers 4-sided, like ears of corn, containing the cups. The upper lip of the blossom is upright, the lower is 3-parted, in equal segments. Specific character. Oreganum spicis tetragones, bractees subrotundus, maximize, folius geminis, oppositus, alternus, cordatis, punctatus, glossus. Habitat in Magna Graecia. Oreganum with a 4-sided spike, floral leaves nearly round, and large. Leaves by pairs, opposite and alternate, heart-shaped, dotted, and glaucous. Native of Greece. Reference to the plate. 1. A flower. 2. The same spread without the cup. 3. Seed bud and pointle. This species of oreganum was first discovered by Tournefort, who, in his travels in the Levant, describes it as one of the rarest plants in all the archipelago, native of Amorgos, and only to be found in the clefts or rents of a hideous rock that overhangs the sea. At the bottom of this rock stands a convent of the Virgin, a large house resembling a chest of drawers, and to which there is no entrance but by a ladder of a dozen wooden steps through a small opening in one of the corners, the door of which is covered with iron plates. This frightful promontory is naturally perpendicular, and said to exceed in height that of La Sainte-Baume in Provence pg 91 pg 92 plate c8. Vanilla planifolia. Flat-leaved vanilla. Class XX. Order Igenandria diandria. Chives on the pointals. 2 chives. Generic character. Corolla pentapetala. Labellum basi subcucullatum, ecculcaratum. Anthera opercularis, decidua. Capsula siliquiformis, carnosa. Blossom of 5 petals. Lip of the nectary nearly cowl-shaped, and without any spur, anthers covered, at last falling off. Fruit a long fleshy pod. Specific character. Vanilla folius ovito-lanceolates acuminates obliquus, obsolete striatis, nitidus, petalis sublanceolates, incurvus, obtuses. Vanilla with oval-lanced, oblique pointed leaves, which are faintly streaked and shining, and the petals of the blossom somewhat lance-shaped, blunt, and curved inwards. Reference to the plate. 1. The nectarium spread open. 2. The chives and pointal. Vanilla flor albo, Fructia breviri corallino, of Plumier's unpublished drawings. The botanical history of this plant is curious. It was published by Plumier in the year 1703, as a third species of vanilla, as we have ascertained by a copy of his original drawing in the collection of A. B. Lambert, Esq, but unnoticed by Linnaeus or any of his editors. In the Paradisus londinensis it has been mistaken for Plumier's first species, the Epidendrum vanilla of Linnaeus, Vanilla aromatica of Swartz and Wildenau, of which we have 3 original figures, Catesby's, in his History of Carolina, Volume 3. Tab. 7, Madame Marian's, and Plumier's own drawing published by Berman, all of them totally unlike it. No 2 plants can be more specifically distinct, and we have seldom seen 2 species of one genus so different in the blossoms. Vanilla planifolia is an exceedingly ornamental and as yet a scarce species, and runs to many feet in length, throwing out simple tendrils from the axils of the leaves. The finest specimen in England, and the only one that has blossomed, is in the choice collection of the Right Honourable Charles Greville, at Paddington, from which our drawing was taken. We are informed that it is a native of the West Indies, and was introduced to this country by the Marquis of Blandford pg 93 pg 94 plate 6. Calycanthus fertilis. Fruitful allspice. Class 12. Order 8. Icosandria polygynia. 20 chives. Many pointals. Essential generic character. Calyx imbricatus, folioles coloratus. Corolla nulla. Styli plurimi. Stigmata glandulosa. Semina plurima, intracalycis partum succulentum. Impalement tiled, leaflets colored. Blossom none. Shafts many. Summits glandular. Seeds many, within the fleshy part of the cup. Specific character. Calycanthus ramus virgatis, suberectes, folius ovito-lanceolates, acuminates, floribus fertilibus. Habitat in America boreale. Calycanthus with twiggy branches nearly upright. Leaves ovately lance-shaped, and pointed. Flowers fertile. Native of North America. Reference to the plate. 1. A flower divested of the leaflets of the cup. 2. The same cut open, to show the seeds. This fruitful species of Calycanthus has not yet been figured by any author we know of, but has been described by 2, first by Walter, in his Flora Caroliniana, under the title of C. fertilis, and afterwards by Michaud, in his Flora Borealis Americana, under the appellation of C. ferox, synonymous appellations equally good, and we see no reason why it should have been altered from fertilis, if even for the better, unless that had been a very bad specific title. It is a native of the high mountains of Carolina, in North America, and was introduced by Mr. Lyons in 1807. Our figure is from a plant in the collection of the Marquis of Blandford. Erratum in our last number, PLCI, the description of Oreganum tourneforti, in the hurry too often attendant upon periodical publications, was left unfinished. The most necessary information omitted, is, that it is a hardy greenhouse shrub, and fine living specimens of it were communicated to us by A. B. Lambert, Esq., who received it from the Royal Gardens at Kew, to which it was introduced by the late Dr. Subthorpe in 1788 pg 95 pg 96 plate DXL. Mesembryanthemum heterophyllum. Various-leaved Mesembryanthemum. Class 12. Order Viicosandria pentagoniae. 20 chives. 5 pointals. Essential generic character. Calyx 4-5 fidus. Petala numerosa, line aurea, basi coerentia. Capsula carnosa, in furrow, polysperma. Impalement 4-5 cleft. Petals numerous, linear, and united at the base. Fruit fleshy, below, many-seeded. Specific character. Mesembryanthemum octogenum, call sens, folias subsemiterretibus, elongatus, obliquus, nitidus, basi con atis, apicibus vel aduncarostratus vel ancipitibius, integris, obtusis. Habitat in promontorio boni spii. Mesembryanthemum 8-styled, with a stem, and leaves nearly half-round, elongated, oblique, shining, and united at the base, with the points either like a hooked bill, or two-edged, entire, and blunt. Native of the Cape of Good Hope. Reference to the plate. 1. A flower divested of the petals cut open. 2. Seed buds and pointals, a summit magnified. 3. A dry capsule. 4. The capsule as it appears when half expanded in water. 5. The same when fully expanded. Of this fine Mesembryanthemum we have found no figure nor description. It is most allied to M. difform, so well illustrated by Dillneus, and figured before by Plukinet, but the figure of Miller, tab. 126 figure 2. Quoted for the same plant in the 4 last editions of the species Plantarum, is certainly M. dolabriform, as the author himself says, although his editor here has not stuck close to his text. M. heterophyllum is very distinct from either, is a free-growing species, and flowers from June to September, the blossom open early in the morning, and shut in the afternoon. It is propagated both by seeds and parting the roots. The fruit is divided into 8 loculaments for the seed, separated longitudinally by double elastic partitions, which are reflected above, so that the edges come in contact together and cover the seeds. 8 elastic valves attached to the margin of the fruit, and adhering firmly to the part containing the seeds, and to one another until mature, again enclose these. 2 cartilaginous colored bodies, jointed near the base, and arising from the outer edge of the partitions, are prominent upon the interior of each of those valves, which have their edges always more or less reflected to facilitate the entrance of moisture to the seeds, above which they continue to lie close so long as the atmosphere continues dry, but, when it rains, or water is poured upon them, it enters by the openings between the valves, and is imbibed by the receptacles of the seeds and cartilaginous partitions, which presently become much dilated, and the diameter of the fruit is considerably increased. The upper valves also by this extension are drawn outwards, and being pressed at the same time by the edges of the partitions, resting against the elastic rigid bodies on their interior surface, gradually rise to be perpendicular upon the margin, when the fruit somewhat resembles a little cup with a Van Dyke edge, but this is of short duration, as the less elastic and hygrometrical exterior of the valves, for their interior parts imbibe water and dilate rapidly, soon draws them backwards into the form of a star or polypetalous flower, with colors as vivid as if really vegetating. The edges of the partitions now become more erect, leaving the seeds uncovered, and the water being led towards the center by channels in the valves, and retained by an elevated margin, the seeds are floated out of their cells. The fruit when dry, again contracts as before, and the experiment may be repeated ad libitum. What a wonderful economy of nature to produce the seeds just at the moment proper for their germination, and preventing them until that time from falling on the parched sands and rocks upon which those plants vegetate. In some plants, natives of cold regions, where seeds are in danger of perishing by moisture, and there is seldom sufficient warmth for their vegetation, an economy the direct reverse takes place. The cones of pines, being most hygrometrical externally, close firmly in moisture, and expand only in dry heat. The singular qualities of the fruits of Mesembryanthema, we find first mentioned by Dillenius, see his Hortus Elthamensis, Volume 2. p. 237. It has since been noticed by Dr. Sims, who has described the fruit Empanatophytum in the Medical Journal for 1799, and also by Mr. Koenig in the Annals of Botany, but we believe no elucidation of the phenomenon has been given before. Dr. Hagen, a German, who possessed the fruits of 3 species without knowing what they were, imagined they were the whole plants, and described them as a new and extraordinary reviviscent genus in Cryptogamia. Others have taken them for the rose of Jericho, which is not a fruit, but a plant. The fruits of most Mesembryanthema exhibit the same metamorphosis, but with great variety. M. hispidum has the upper valves double, the inner membrane beautifully transparent. The fruit of this perfectly ripened, if put into tepid water, will fly open as if with a spring. We have made experiments with the fruits of M. latum, scalpratum, cordatum, and puginiform, all of which are very fine. Our specimen is from the collection of A. B. Lambert, ESQ PG 97 PG 98 Plate DXLI. Protea conifera. Cone-bearing Protea. Class 4. Order Itetrandria monogenea. 4 chives. 1 pointal. Essential generic character. Corolla 4 phyta, SCU 4 petala. Antheri linears, petalis infraapices incerti. Calyx proprius, nullus. Semina solitaria. Blossom 4 cleft, or of 4 petals. Tips linear, inserted into the petals below the points. Cup proper, none. Seeds solitary. Specific character. Protea folius acinaciformibus, glabrous, colossus, floribus in capitulas terminalibus, pallid luteus, involucro patent, late lanceolato, concolor. Protea with scimitar-shaped leaves, smooth and hard. Flowers grow in terminal heads of a pale yellow color, the involucrum is spreading, broadly lance-shaped, and the same color as the blossoms. Reference to the plate. 1. A flower. 2. A chive magnified. 3. Seed bud and pointal, summit magnified. Our figure represents part of a plant in the collection of G. Hibbert, ESQ in the year 1803, and the smaller specimen a branch from the same plant in 1807. So considerable a latitude of growth is certainly deserving notice, as, upon a slight examination, they might easily be mistaken for distinct species. In the first year of its inflorescence its appearance is uninteresting, but in a year or 2 afterwards it displays such an abundance of bloom, that it then becomes a very ornamental little shrub. It is a Cape species, and requires no particular treatment more than what is common to the generality of this extensive family PG99 PG100 plate Xlii. Rulia infundibuliformis. Funnel-flowered Rulia. Class 4. Order Itetrandria monogenea. 4 chives. 1 pointal. Essential generic character. Calyx 5 pertitus. Corolla monopetala, limbo 5 lobo, inequali. Stamina biconjugata. Stylus filiformis. Stigma bifidum. Capsula desepimentus dentatis, elasticis, dehiscentibus. Semina pauca. Impalement 5 parted. Blossom 1 petal, border 5 lobed, unequal. Chives by pairs. Shaft thread-shaped. Summit 2 cleft. Capsule with the partitions toothed, elastic, and splitting. Seeds few. Specific character. Rulia folius oppositus, alternus, lanceolates, undulates, costatis, lucides, floribus in spicis terminalibus, confertus. Corolla infundibuliformis, Licinius limbiquinquifides, crenates, patentibus, rugosus, coccinais, ad basin luteus. Rulia with opposite alternate leaves, lance-shaped, waved, ribbed, and shining. Flowers grow in terminal spikes, crowded together. Blossom funnel-shaped, segments of the border 5 cleft and notched, spreading, wrinkled, of a scarlet color, and yellow at the base. Reference to the plate. 1. The impalement. 2. A blossom spread open. 3. Seed bud and pointal. Few of the small plants that adorn the stove are superior in beauty to this elegant little shrub, whose successive bloom continues from June till January. It is the Justitia infundibuliformis of Linnaeus, but must, according to his own system, be removed to the class Tetrandria. We have seen it in many collections in great luxuriance. It is a native of the East Indies, and was introduced by the Right Honourable C. Greville, 4 or 5 years ago. As yet, we believe, it has not perfected its seed with us, but propagates freely by cuttings PG101 PG102 plate Xlii. Protea speciosa patens. Spreading showy protea. Class 4. Order Itetrandria monogenea. 4 chives. 1 pointal. Essential generic character. Corolla 4 phyta, SCU 4 petala. Antheri linears, petalis infraapices inserti. Calyx proprius, nullus. Semina solitaria. Blossom 4 cleft, or of 4 petals. Tips linear, inserted into the petals below the points. Cup proper, none. Seeds solitary. Specific character. Protea folius lanceolates, undulates, pilosus, squames calicines rotundato ovades, marginibus fimbriatus nigricantibus. Caulis patens. Habitat in caput boni spii. Protea with lance-shaped leaves, waved and hairy. Scales of the impalement roundedly oval, with fringed margins of a black-brown color. Stem spreading. Native of the Cape of Good Hope. Reference to the plate. 1. A flower, 1 tip magnified. 2. Seed bud and pointal, summit magnified. This fine fringed protea in the foliage is very nearly allied to the P. speciosa, but the flower is more spread open than any of that section we have as yet seen. It is naturally so averse to grow upright, that it is with difficulty prevented from bending downwards, which the branches always do till they are tied up. In this particular it very much resembles the P. repens, and, if left at liberty, would no doubt, like that species, creep or spread itself about on the earth. Our figure was made from a plant lately in the conservatory of G. H. Hibbert, ESQ, but recently consigned to J. Knight, his botanic gardener, who has commenced nurseryman in the King's Road, Chelsea, with the whole of that well-known valuable collection PG 103 PG 104 plate Xliv. Mimosa pudica. Bashful mimosa. Class XXIII. Order I Polygamia monoecious. Various dispositions upon one plant. Essential generic character. Hermaph. Calyx 5 dentatus. Corolla 5 fida. Stamina 5, subplura. Pistillum 1. Legumen. Mascal. Calyx 5 dentatus. Corolla 5 fida. Stamina 4, 5, 10, subplura. Hermaph. Impalement 5 toothed. Blossom 5 cleft. Chives 5, or more. Pointal 1. Apod. Male. Impalement 5 toothed. Blossom 5 cleft. Chives 4, 5, 10, or more. Specific character. Mimosa foliis sensitivus palmitopenates, pinules, multigyges. Caulis pilosus, aculis paucis instructus. Petiola et pedunculi pilosi. Fructus echinatus. Habitat in Brasilia. Mimosa with sensitive leaves palmately winged, the pinnuli many-paired. Stem hairy, and furnished with a few prickles. Petioles and peduncles hairy. Fruit prickly. Native of the Brazils. Reference to the plate. 1. A flower. 2. A chive magnified. 3. Seed bud and pointal magnified. 4. The ripe capsule, with the seed detached. 5 distinct genera were once included under the generic title of Mimosa, but separated by Wildenau into 102 acacias, 58 ingas, 9 desmanthuses, 3 schrankias, and 32 mimosas. This susceptible species of mimosa is an old inhabitant of the stove, and well known to cultivators by the appellation of the sensitive plant, but not to be confounded with the M. sensitiva, a very different species. Although this mimosa is neither new nor rare, it is nevertheless very interesting, and has not hitherto made its appearance in any modern publication, nor is there any colored figure of it extant. Our representation of it, therefore, is in part a novelty, however old and familiar the plant itself may be. According to the observations of Linnaeus, it opens or expands its foliage at 3 in the morning, and closes it about 6 in the evening. Its singular quality of shrinking from the touch is supposed to be owing to its being strongly saturated with oxygen gas, which it disengages upon the slightest provocation, and its place for a short time is supplied by the atmospheric air, which retiring, the leaves again resume their former appearance, and so remain expanded till the evening, unless disturbed by design or accident, for the rude approach of the common air disorganises its foliage. The leaf is mostly composed of 4 divisions, but sometimes 5 and 6 may be found in plants of a luxuriant growth. Each division is supplied with numerous little leaflets, in pairs of an oblong form, with a small yellow gland at their base, which when carefully touched will close up separately, and leave the surrounding leaflets undisturbed. It may be considered either as an annual or a biennial, dying after ripening its seeds. Our drawing was made from fine plants in the collection of J. Veer, ESQ PG 105 PG 106 plate DXLV. Protea abrotanifolia, odorata. Sweet-scented southernwood leaved protea. Class 4. Order I Tetrandria monogenea. 4 chives. 1 pointal. Essential generic character. Corolla 4 fida, SCU 4 petala. Antheri linears, petalis infraapices inserti. Calyx proprius, nullus. Semina solitaria. Blossom 4 cleft, or of 4 petals. Tips linear, inserted into the petals below the points. Cup proper, none. Seeds solitary. Specific character. Protea foliae multifidus, filiformibus, acutus, pilosus, floribus in capitulas terminalibus, lucides, odoratis. Habitat in caput boni spii. Protea with many cleft leaves, thread-shaped, pointed, and hairy, flowers grow in terminal heads, shining and sweet-scented. Native of the Cape of Good Hope. Reference to the plate. 1 a flower, 1 tip magnified. 2 seed bud and pointal. This species of Protea well deserves a place in any collection, as, in addition to its light and graceful appearance, it is possessed of a most agreeable fragrance. There is a variation of it with white flowers, but exactly the same in every other particular. It remains a considerable time in bloom, but not many umbels of flowers are expanded at the same time. We have seen it in several collections. It is a Cape species, and appears to be of easy culture pg 107 pg 108 plate xlv. Monarda punctata. Dotted flowered Monarda. Class 2. Order Idiandria monogenea. 2 chives. 1 pointal. Essential generic character. Calyx tubulosus, quinquedentatus. Corolla ringens, labio superior lineare, filamenta involvent. Impalement tubular, 5-toothed. Blossom gaping, the upper lip linear, and enfolding the threads. Specific character. Monarda foliae lanceolates, dentatis, minute punctatus, floribus verticillus, flavus, rubro punctatus, foliae involucri ovito lanceolates, glabrous, incarnatus. Habitat in America boreale. Monarda with lance-shaped leaves, toothed, and minutely dotted. Flowers grow in whorls, are of a yellow color, and dotted with red. The involucrate leaves are ovately lance-shaped, smooth, and flesh-colored. Native of North America. Reference to the plate. 1 a flower. 2 a blossom spread open, 1 tip magnified. 3 seed bud and pointal, summit magnified. 4 seed bud magnified. The only figure of the Monarda punctata we have seen is an uncollared one in Plucinets phytographia. It is a perfectly new species to the garden, and the only Monarda with yellow flowers at present known. Its specific title is particularly applicable to its bloom, as all the species yet enumerated are more or less punctured in the foliage, some so minutely as scarcely to be perceived without the aid of a magnifier. It is a native of Virginia in North America, but by whom introduced we have not been able to learn. Our drawing was made from plants in the nursery of Messrs. Whitley and Brahms, who raised it from seed last year, 1807, but it did not flower till the latter part of the present summer. It is a hardy perennial, and certainly a handsome addition to the genus PG 109 PG 110 plate Xlatii. Passiflora perfoliata. Perfoliate-leaved passion flower. Class XX. Order Veganandria pentandria. Chives on the pointal. 5 chives. Essential generic character. Trigina. Calyx 5 phyllis. Petala 5. Nectarium corona. Bacca pedicellata. 3 styles. Cup 5-leaved. Petals 5. Honeycup forming a crown. Berry standing on a footstock. Specific character. Passiflora foliae bilobes, lobes oblonges, divaricatus, subtus punctatus, glossus, Lacinius calicinis linearibus. Habitat in Carabius. Jacquin's Hortschern Volume 2. Tab. 182 Passion flower with leaves 2-lobed, lobes oblong and straddling, dotted beneath, and glaucous, segments of the cup linear. Native of the Caribbee Islands. Reference to the plate. 1. A flower spread open. The most graceful ornament to the hot stove is the elegant and favorite genus Passiflora, whose branches meandering against the interior sides of the building adorn it to the greatest advantage. From a branch of the Passiflora perfoliata thus situated in the collection of the Countess de Vanzar drawing was taken. The only colored figure of it we have seen in the Hortus Brunensis of Jacquin. It flowers in great luxuriance during the months of July and August. Pg 111 Pg 112 Plate Xladiath. Cucumis dudame. Sweet-scented melon. Class XXI. Order 8. Monoecia monadelphia. Chives and pointils separate. 1. Brotherhood. Essential generic character. Masculini flores. Calyx 5 dentatus. Corolla 5 partita. Filamenta 3. Fominae flores. Calyx 5 dentatus. Corolla 5 partita. Pistillum 3 fidum. Male flowers. Impalement 5 toothed. Blossom 5 parted. Filaments 3. Female flowers. Impalement 5 toothed. Blossom 3 parted. Pointil 3 cleft. Specific character. Cucumis foliorum angulis rotundae tis, dentae tis, bispidus, fructus spherico, arantio, variegato, odoratissimo. Melon with leaves angular, rounded, toothed, and hispid, fruit spherical, of a gold color, variegated, and very sweet-scented. Reference to the plate. 1. A blossom spread open. 2. A chive magnified. 3. Impalement, seed bud, and pointil. 4. A horizontal section of the fruit. 5. A female flower spread open. This curious little species of melon, although no new introduction to the English gardens, is but rarely met with, yet well deserves a place in every curious collection for the beauty and fragrance of its fruit, which, when cut before quite ripe, will continue fragrant nearly a fortnight. It is however only to be valued for its odor and beauty, the flavor being insipid. It is said to have been first introduced by Lord Petter, who sent the seeds from Morocco to Peter Collinson, F.R.S. It is also cultivated in Persia, and a figure of the fruit taken there is given in Gmlin's Travels, Volume 3. Tab. 49 Figure 6. Its Hebrew appellation of dudame seems to have been bestowed by Linnaeus, from the fantastical idea that it was the fruit mentioned in the Bible by the name of mandrake, with which Jacob's neglected wife purchased her husband's favors for one night of her rival. Another plant with perennial roots descending 6 or 8 feet into the earth, was taken by his pupil Hasselquist, sent to the east on purpose to illustrate the natural history of that country, for the celebrated dudame, which is the right one, let critics in Hebrew decide. The Meloaegypticus minor of Tournefort, or Egyptian Abdelavi, which Linnaeus supposed to be the same as the Meloarangii figura odoratissimus of Dilneus, and might partly have occasioned the name, is a very different species. Indeed, the claim of our plant to Egyptian origin seems doubtful, but we would reluctantly change a name that has been applied for more than half a century. Our specimens are from the collection of A. B. Lambert, ESQ PG 113 PG 114 Plate Xlix. Pascalia glauca. Glaucous-leaved Pascalia. Class 19. Order 2. Syngenacea polygamia superflua. Tips united. Superfluous pointils. Essential generic character. Receptaculum paleaceum. Seminodropaceae. Pupus margin dentatus. Calyx imbricatus. Receptacle chaffy. Seeds a ripe berry. Down-toothed at the edge. Impalement tiled. Specific character. Pascalia folius oppositus, trinervibus, glossus patentibusque, inferiorolato lanceolates, denticulates, acutus, sepius integerrimes, floribus terminalibus, solitaris, corolla flava. Habitat in Regno Chilense. Pascalia glauca ortigi November rar. Plant, tab. 4 Pascalia with opposite leaves, 3 nerved, glaucous and spreading, the lower ones are broadly lance-shaped, toothed, and pointed, but often entire, flowers terminal and solitary, blossom yellow. Native of the Kingdom of Chile. Reference to the plate. 1. The impalement and receptacle. 2. A floret of the ray. 3. A floret of the disc, summit magnified. 4. Seed bud and pointle. The only figure of this syngenesis plant is in the new and rare plants of Ortega, who named it after D. Dedico Pascal, a Spanish physician. It is the only species of the genus yet known, and a fine living specimen of it was communicated to us by Mr. Lambert, who raised it from seed sent to him from Madrid by the late Cavanillas. It is perfectly hardy, and the roots so durable and spreading that they are not easily eradicated. It does not however bloom with equal facility, but seems to want a warmer sun to aid its flowers in their expansion. Pg 115 Pg 116 Plate DL Hermania flammea. Flame-colored Hermania. Class 16. Order V. Monadelphia Pentagonia. 1. Brotherhood. 5 Pointals. Essential generic character. Calyx simplex, 5 Fidus. Petala 5, Spiraliturcuculata. Filamenta lanceolata. Styli 5. Capsula 5 Locularis, Polysperma. Impalement simple, 5 Cleft. Petals 5, spiral and hooded. Filaments lance-shaped. Shafts 5. Capsule 5 Trellid, many-seeded. Specific character. Hermania folius cuneiformibus, apis dentatis, floribus ramos terminantibus, spicatis, laxus. Habitat in Caput boni spii. Hermania flammea, Jacques. Hortschern volume itab. 129 Hermania with wedge-shaped leaves, toothed at the end. Flowers terminate the branches in loose spikes. Native of the Cape of Good Hope. Reference to the plate. 1. The impalement. 2. A petal. 3. The chives and pointle. 4. A chive magnified. 5. Seed bud and pointle magnified. 6. A transverse section of the seed bud magnified. This species of Hermania is figured in the Hortus Scurenbrunensis of Jacquin. We have adopted his specific title of Flammea, but think the plant would have been better marked by the appellation of ignescens, particularly as we have seen it in bloom with scarcely any vestige of yellow or flame color on the petals, but always of a fine fiery red color. It is a very handsome hardy greenhouse shrub, and flowers from June till January. Our drawing was made from a plant in the nursery of Mr. Knight, King's Road, Chelsea. Pg 117 Pg 118 Plate DLI. Lopsia coronata. Coronate flowering Lopsia. Class I. Order I. Menandria monogenea. 1 Chive. 1 Pointle. Essential generic character. Calyx 4 Phyllis. Corolla 5 Petala, inequalis. Capsula 4 Locularis, 4 Valvus, Polysperma. Impalement 4-leaved. Blossom 5-petaled, unequal. Capsule 4 Trellid, 4-valved, many-seeded. Specific character. Lopsia ramus longuis, simplicibus, adscendentibus, folius subovatis, acutus, dentatis, lucides, Petioles decurrungibus, Floribus axillaribus, in umbellus terminalibus. Lopsia with long, simple, ascending branches. Leaves nearly ovate, pointed, toothed, and shining, with decurrent footstalks. Flowers growing from the axilla of the leaves, and terminate the branches in umbels. Reference to the plate. 1. The impalement. 2. The chives and pointle, with the lower petal magnified. 3. The capsule cut transversely. 4. A seed. The Lopsia coronata is a hardy little annual, of recent introduction, and a lively addition to this short genus, which at present contains but 2 species besides the one now figured. We have seen them all 3 in fine bloom in several collections. Our figure represents a branch from a plant in the conservatory of the Countess de Vannes, where we observed the side petals of many of the flowers of a pure white at the ends, which gave them a very singular and different appearance from plants of the same description we have seen elsewhere, and Mr. Fordyce the botanic gardener informs me it was always the character of his plant, after it had been some time in flower, for the large petals to acquire a white appearance, as if bleached, previous to their going out of bloom. We have therefore left one flower in that state in our specimen, to delineate the variation incidental to the plant from which our figure was taken. Pg 119 Pg 120 Plate DLII. Hypericum virginicum. Virginia hypericum. Class 18. Order 4. Polyadelphia polyandria. Many brotherhoods. Many males. Generic character. Calyx 5 partita. Corolla 5 petala. Filamenta multa, in 5 phalanges, basi connata. Capsula locularis. Impalement 5 parted. Blossom 5 petaled. Threads many, conjoined at the base, in 5 squadrons. Capsule tricellid. Specific character. Hypericum floribus triginus, Eniandres, terminalibus, Folius ellipticus, obtusis, subcordatus, amplexicaulibus, call herbaceae. Hypericum with flowers 3-styled, 9-chived, and terminal. Leaves elliptic, obtuse, nearly heart-shaped, and embracing the stem. Stem herbaceous. Reference to the plate. 1. The impalement. 2. A petal. 3. The chives and pointles, 1 tip magnified. 4. The pointles. 5. The same cut transversely and magnified. This hardy little herbaceous plant was introduced by Mr. Lyons from America about the year 1804. There is no figure of it extant that we know of. Willdenow in his Species Plantarum has enumerated 88 species of Hypericum, but amongst that number 3 distinct genera are certainly included. Our drawing was made from plants in the nursery of Messrs. Whitley and Brahms, who raised them from seed, and with whom they flowered the 2nd year. Their bloom is but of short duration, but few flowers are open at one time, and we are inclined to think that they will expand with more freedom and last longer in a shady situation than when fully exposed to the solar ray. Pg 121 Pg 122 Index to the plants contained in Vol. 8 Plate 493 Bignonia grandiflora large flowered Bignonia G. H. Shrub. September 494 Scutellaria cerataz odd-leaved Scutellaria har. Herb. May 495 Protea corymbosus orymbos flowering Protea G. H. Shrub. July 496 Jasminum multiflorumini flowered Jasmine H. H. Shrub. All summer. 497 Jasminum sambac, various flor pleno Indian jasmine, full-flowered variety H. H. Shrub. All summer. 498 Hibiscus pruriens stinging hibiscus H. H. Shrub. July 499 Ipomea coccinea scarlet Ipomea. H. Shrub. July 500 Protea mucronifolia mucronate-leaved Protea G. H. Shrub. August 501 Helenia Ulugus Ceylon Helenia H. H. Shrub. July 502 Lobelia surinamensis, various flora rubro Suriname Lobelia, red-flowered variety H. H. Shrub. September 503 Nymphea rubra red-flowered Nymphea. H. Aquatic. August 504 Solanum seaforthianum seafortha Solanum G. H. Shrub. August 505 Ornithogalum flavus Imamiolau flowered star of Bethlehem G. H. Bulb. July 506 Rulia cristata crested Rulia H. H. Shrub. August 507 Protea abrotanifolia southernwood-leaved Protea G. H. Shrub. August 508 Cactus grandiflorus large-flowered Sirius H. H. Shrub. August 509 Gentiana fimbriata fringed-flowered Gentian G. H. Shrub. July 510 Aspalathus globosus round-flowering Aspalathus G. H. Shrub. July 511 Solanum betaceum beet-like Solanum G. H. Shrub. August 512 Protea pinnatonged-leaved Protea G. H. Shrub. July 513 Cactus hexagonous great torch thistle H. H. Shrub. August 514 Paeonia anomalanomalous-leaved Paeony Har. Shrub. July 515 Cananchum mucronatum mucronate-leaved Cananchum H. H. Shrub. August 516 Astragalus villicis Harry astragalus Har. Herb. July 517 Protea imbricate-leaved Protea G. H. Shrub. September 518 Magnolia grandiflora large-flowered Magnolia Har. Tree. All summer. 519 Commersonia echinidobrously fruited Commersonia H. H. Tree. All summer. 520 Euosma albiflora flowered Euosma Har. Shrub. June 521 Areospermum folioliferum leaflet-bearing Areospermum G. H. Shrub. August 522 Protea abrotanifolia herta Harry southernwood Protea G. H. Shrub. August 523 Gorteria pavonia peacock Gorteria G. H. Herb. July 524 Lachnea buxifolia box-leaved Lachneag. H. Shrub. August 525 Podalyria hirsuta Harry Podalyria G. H. Shrub. August 526 Protea cespitosa turfy Protea G. H. Shrub. September 527 Rulia fulgida bright-flowered Rulia H. H. Shrub. All summer. 528 Ornithogalum elatum lofty Ornithogalum H. H. Bulb. August 529 Nitra aureus Scoberi Schobers nitraria Har. Shrub. August 530 Bignonia uncata hooked Bignonia H. H. Shrub. August 531 Veronica Dierwenchia New Holland Veronica G. H. Shrub. September 532 Protea humifloralo flowering Protea G. H. Shrub. August 533 Cactus coccinellifer cochineal torch thistle H. H. Shrub. September 534 Juniperus dorica juniper Har. Shrub. August 535 Tropiolum pinnatum winged nasturtium G. H. Shrub. September 536 Protea abrotanifolia, minor small southernwood-leaved Protea G. H. Shrub. August 537 Oreganum tourniforti tourniforts Oreganum G. H. Shrub. September 538 Vanilla planifolia flat-leaved Vanilla H. H. Shrub. September 539 Calicanthus fertilis fruitful allspice G. H. Shrub. September 540 Mesembryanthemum heterophyllum various-leaved Mesembryanthemum G. H. Shrub. September 541 Protea conifera cone-bearing Protea G. H. Shrub. August 542 Rulia infundibuliformis funnel flowered Rulia H. H. Shrub. Sum and autumn. 543 Protea speciosa patens spreading showy Protea G. H. Shrub. August 544 Mimosa pudica bashful Mimosa H. H. Shrub. All summer. 545 Protea abrotanifolia odorata sweet scented southernwood leaved pgh. Shrub. August. 546 Monarda punctata dotted flowered Monarda har. Herb. Autumn 547 Passiflora perfoliate perfoliate leaved passion flower H. Shrub. September 548 Cucumis dame sweet scented melon H. H. Shrub. September 549 Pascalia glaucogacus leaved Pascalia har. Shrub. August 550 Hermania flammea flame colored Hermania G. H. Shrub. Sum and autumn. 551 Lopsia coronata soranate flowered Lopsia G. H. Shrub. All summer. 552 Hypericum virginicum Virginia Hypericum har. Herb. August irata. Plate 494 in generic character, for os the mouth, red oris the border. Nidraria scoberi for 530, read 529. 531 for Veronica Derwentia, read Veronica Derwentiana. End of the Project Gutenberg ebook The Botanist's Repository for New and Rare Plants, Vol. 08 of 10 updated editions will replace the previous one. The old editions will be renamed. Creating the works from print editions not protected by U.S. copyright law means that no one owns a United States copyright in these works, so the Foundation, and you, can copy and distribute it in the United States without permission and without paying copyright royalties. Special rules, set forth in the General Terms of Use part of this license, apply to copying and distributing Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works to protect the Project Gutenberg trademark concept and trademark. Project Gutenberg is a registered trademark, and may not be used if you charge for an ebook, except by following the terms of the trademark license, including paying royalties for use of the Project Gutenberg trademark. If you do not charge anything for copies of this ebook, complying with the trademark license is very easy. You may use this ebook for nearly any purpose such as creation of derivative works, reports, performances, and research. Project Gutenberg ebooks may be modified and printed and given away. You may do practically anything in the United States with ebooks not protected by U.S. copyright law. Redistribution is subject to the trademark license, especially commercial redistribution. Start, full license. The full Project Gutenberg license. Please read this before you distribute or use this work to protect the Project Gutenberg trademark mission of promoting the free distribution of electronic works, by using or distributing this work, or any other work associated in any way with the phrase Project Gutenberg. You agree to comply with all the terms of the full Project Gutenberg trademark license available with this file or online at www.gutenberg.org/license. Section 1. General Terms of Use and Redistributing Project Gutenberg Trademark Electronic Works 1.a. By reading or using any part of this Project Gutenberg trademark electronic work, you indicate that you have read, understand, agree to and accept all the terms of this license and intellectual property, trademark/copyright, agreement. If you do not agree to abide by all the terms of this agreement, you must cease using and return or destroy all copies of Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works in your possession. If you paid a fee for obtaining a copy of or access to a Project Gutenberg trademark electronic work and you do not agree to be bound by the terms of this agreement, you may obtain a refund from the person or entity to whom you paid the fee as set forth in paragraph 1.e.8. 1.b Project Gutenberg is a registered trademark. It may only be used on or associated in any way with an electronic work by people who agree to be bound by the terms of this agreement. There are a few things that you can do with most Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works even without complying with the full terms of this agreement. See paragraph 1.c below. There are a lot of things you can do with Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works if you follow the terms of this agreement and help preserve free future access to Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works. See paragraph 1.e below. 1.c. The Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation, the Foundation or PGLOF, owns a compilation copyright in the collection of Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works. Nearly all the individual works in the collection are in the public domain in the United States. If an individual work is unprotected by copyright law in the United States and you are located in the United States, we do not claim a right to prevent you from copying, distributing, performing, displaying, or creating derivative works based on the work as long as all references to Project Gutenberg are removed. Of course, we hope that you will support the Project Gutenberg trademark mission of promoting free access to electronic works by freely sharing Project Gutenberg trademark works in compliance with the terms of this agreement for keeping the Project Gutenberg trademark name associated with the work. You can easily comply with the terms of this agreement by keeping this work in the same format with its attached full Project Gutenberg trademark license when you share it without charge with others. 1.d. The copyright laws of the place where you are located also govern what you can do with this work. Copyright laws in most countries are in a constant state of change. If you are outside the United States, check the laws of your country in addition to the terms of this agreement before downloading, copying, displaying, performing, distributing or creating derivative works based on this work or any other Project Gutenberg trademark work. The Foundation makes no representations concerning the copyright status of any work in any country other than the United States. 1.e Unless you have removed all references to Project Gutenberg, 1.e.1. The following sentence, with active links to, or other immediate access to, the full Project Gutenberg trademark license must appear prominently whenever any copy of a Project Gutenberg trademark work, any work on which the phrase Project Gutenberg appears, or with which the phrase Project Gutenberg is associated, is accessed, displayed, performed, viewed, copied or distributed. This ebook is for the use of anyone anywhere in the United States and most other parts of the world at no cost and with almost no restrictions whatsoever. You may copy it, give it away or reuse it under the terms of the Project Gutenberg license included with this ebook or online at www.gutenberg.org. If you are not located in the United States, you will have to check the laws of the country where you are located before using this ebook. 1.e.2. If an individual Project Gutenberg trademark electronic work is derived from texts not protected by U.S. copyright law, does not contain a notice indicating that it is posted with permission of the copyright holder, the work can be copied and distributed to anyone in the United States without paying any fees or charges. If you are redistributing or providing access to a work with the phrase Project Gutenberg associated with or appearing on the work, you must comply either with the requirements of paragraphs 1.e.1 through 1.e.7 or obtain permission for the use of the work and the Project Gutenberg trademark as set forth in paragraphs 1.e.8 or 1.e.9. 1.e.3. If an individual Project Gutenberg trademark electronic work is posted with the permission of the copyright holder, your use and distribution must comply with both paragraphs 1.e.1 through 1.e.7 and any additional terms imposed by the copyright holder. Additional terms will be linked to the Project Gutenberg trademark license for all works posted with the permission of the copyright holder found at the beginning of this work. 1.e.4. Do not unlink or detach or remove the full Project Gutenberg trademark license terms from this work, or any files containing a part of this work or any other work associated with Project Gutenberg trademark. 1.e.5. Do not copy, display, perform, distribute or redistribute this electronic work, or any part of this electronic work, without prominently displaying the sentence set forth in paragraph 1.e.1 with active links or immediate access to the full terms of the Project Gutenberg trademark license. 1.e.6. You may convert to and distribute this work in any binary, compressed, marked up, non-proprietary or proprietary form, including any word processing or hypertext form. However, if you provide access to or distribute copies of a Project Gutenberg trademark work in a format other than plain vanilla ASCII or other format used in the official version posted on the official Project Gutenberg trademark website, www.gutenberg.org, you must, at no additional cost, fee, or expense to the user, provide a copy, a means of exporting a copy, or a means of obtaining a copy upon request, of the work in its original plain vanilla ASCII or other form. Any alternate format must include the full Project Gutenberg trademark license as specified in paragraph 1.e.1. 1.e.7. Do not charge a fee for access to, viewing, displaying, performing, copying or distributing any Project Gutenberg trademark works unless you comply with paragraph 1.e.8 or 1.e.9. 1.e.8. You may charge a reasonable fee for copies of or providing access to or distributing Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works provided that, you pay a royalty fee of 20% of the gross profits you derive from the use of Project Gutenberg trademark works calculated using the method you already use to calculate your applicable taxes. The fee is owed to the owner of the Project Gutenberg trademark, but he has agreed to donate royalties under this paragraph to the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation. Royalty payments must be paid within 60 days following each date on which you prepare, or are legally required to prepare, your periodic tax returns. Royalty payments should be clearly marked as such and sent to the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation at the address specified in Section 4, Information about donations to the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation. You provide a full refund of any money paid by a user who notifies you in writing, or by email, within 30 days of receipt that he does not agree to the terms of the full Project Gutenberg trademark license. You must require such a user to return or destroy all copies of the works possessed in a physical medium and discontinue all use of and all access to other copies of Project Gutenberg trademark works. You provide, in accordance with paragraph 1.f.3, a full refund of any money paid for a work or a replacement copy, if a defect in the electronic work is discovered and reported to you within 90 days of receipt of the work. You comply with all other terms of this agreement for free distribution of Project Gutenberg trademark works. 1.e.9. If you wish to charge a fee or distribute a Project Gutenberg trademark electronic work or group of works on different terms than are set forth in this agreement, you must obtain permission in writing from the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation, the manager of the Project Gutenberg trademark. Contact the Foundation as set forth in Section 3 below. 1.f.1.f.1. Project Gutenberg volunteers and employees expend considerable effort to identify, do copyright research on, transcribe and proofread works not protected by U.S. copyright law in creating the Project Gutenberg trademark collection. Despite these efforts, Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works, and the medium on which they may be stored, may contain defects, such as, but not limited to, incomplete, inaccurate or corrupt data, transcription errors, a copyright or other intellectual property infringement, a defective or damaged disk or other medium, a computer virus, or computer codes that damage or cannot be read by your equipment. 1.f.2 Limited warranty, disclaimer of damages, except for the right of replacement or refund described in paragraph 1.f.3, the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation, the owner of the Project Gutenberg trademark, and any other party distributing a Project Gutenberg trademark electronic work under this agreement, disclaim all liability to you for damages, costs, and expenses, including legal fees. You agree that you have no remedies for negligence, strict liability, breach of warranty or breach of contract except those provided in paragraph 1.f.3. You agree that the foundation, the trademark owner, and any distributor under this agreement will not be liable to you for actual, direct, indirect, consequential, punitive, or incidental damages even if you give notice of the possibility of such damage. 1.f.3 Limited right of replacement or refund. If you discover a defect in this electronic work within 90 days of receiving it, you can receive a refund of the money, if any, you paid for it by sending a written explanation to the person you received the work from. If you received the work on a physical medium, you must return the medium with your written explanation. The person or entity that provided you with the defective work may elect to provide a replacement copy in lieu of a refund. If you received the work electronically, the person or entity providing it to you may choose to give you a second opportunity to receive the work electronically in lieu of a refund. If the second copy is also defective, you may demand a refund in writing without further opportunities to fix the problem. 1.f.4 Except for the limited right of replacement or refund set forth in paragraph 1.f.3, this work is provided to you as is, with no other warranties of any kind, express or implied, including but not limited to warranties of merchantability or fitness for any purpose. 1.f.5 Some states do not allow disclaimers of certain implied warranties or the exclusion or limitation of certain types of damages. If any disclaimer or limitation set forth in this agreement violates the law of the state applicable to this agreement, the agreement shall be interpreted to make the maximum disclaimer or limitation permitted by the applicable state law. The invalidity or unenforceability of any provision of this agreement shall not void the remaining provisions. 1.f.6 Indemnity. You agree to indemnify and hold the foundation, the trademark owner, any agent or employee of the foundation, anyone providing copies of Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works in accordance with this agreement, and any volunteers associated with the production, promotion, and distribution of Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works, harmless from all liability, costs, and expenses, including legal fees, that arise directly or indirectly from any of the following which you do or cause to occur. A. Distribution of this or any Project Gutenberg trademark work. B. Alteration, modification, or additions or deletions to any Project Gutenberg trademark work, and C. Any defect you cause. Section 2. Information about the mission of Project Gutenberg trademark. Project Gutenberg trademark is synonymous with the free distribution of electronic works in formats readable by the widest variety of computers including obsolete, old, middle-aged, and new computers. It exists because of the efforts of hundreds of volunteers and donations from people in all walks of life. Volunteers and financial support to provide volunteers with the assistance they need are critical to reaching Project Gutenberg trademark's goals and ensuring that the Project Gutenberg trademark collection will remain freely available for generations to come. In 2001, the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation was created to provide a secure and permanent future for Project Gutenberg trademark and future generations. To learn more about the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation and how your efforts and donations can help, see sections 3 and 4 and the Foundation information page at www.gutenberg.org. Section 3. Information about the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation. The Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation is a nonprofit 501(c)(3) educational corporation organized under the laws of the state of Mississippi and granted tax-exempt status by the Internal Revenue Service. The foundation's IN or federal tax identification number is 64-6221541. Contributions to the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation are tax-deductible to the full extent permitted by U.S. federal laws and your state's laws. The Foundation's business office is located at 809 North 1500 West, Salt Lake City, Utah 841168015961887. Email contact links and up-to-date contact information can be found at the Foundation's website and official page at www.gutenberg.org/contact. Section 4. Information about donations to the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation. Project Gutenberg trademark depends upon and cannot survive without widespread public support and donations to carry out its mission of increasing the number of public domain and licensed works that can be freely distributed in machine-readable form accessible by the widest array of equipment including outdated equipment. Many small donations, $1 to $5,000, are particularly important to maintaining tax-exempt status with the IRS. The Foundation is committed to complying with the laws regulating charities and charitable donations in all 50 states of the United States. Compliance requirements are not uniform and it takes a considerable effort, much paperwork, and many fees to meet and keep up with these requirements. We do not solicit donations in locations where we have not received written confirmation of compliance. To send donations or determine the status of compliance for any particular state, visit www.gutenberg.org/donate. While we cannot and do not solicit contributions from states where we have not met the solicitation requirements, we know of no prohibition against accepting unsolicited donations from donors in such states who approach us with offers to donate. International donations are gratefully accepted, but we cannot make any statements concerning tax treatment of donations received from outside the United States. U.S. laws alone swamp our small staff. Please check the Project Gutenberg web pages for current donation methods and addresses. Donations are accepted in a number of other ways including checks, online payments, and credit card donations. To donate, please visit www.gutenberg.org/donate. Section 5. General information about Project Gutenberg trademark electronic works. Professor Michael S. Hart was the originator of the Project Gutenberg trademark concept of a library of electronic works that could be freely shared with anyone. For 40 years, he produced and distributed Project Gutenberg trademark ebooks with only a loose network of volunteer support. Project Gutenberg trademark ebooks are often created from several printed editions, all of which are confirmed as not protected by copyright in the U.S. unless a copyright notice is included. Thus, we do not necessarily keep ebooks in compliance with any particular paper edition. Most people start at our website, which has the main PG search facility, www.gutenberg.org. This website includes information about Project Gutenberg trademark, including how to make donations to the Project Gutenberg Literary Archive Foundation, how to help produce our new ebooks, and how to subscribe to our email newsletter to hear about new ebooks. Back. 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 back, 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 back. Volume 8. Of the Botanist's Repository Plate Uxkeen. Plate Uxiv. Plate CCCCXCV. Plate Uxkv. Plate Uxkadii. Plate Uxkadiath. Plate Uxix. Plate D. Plate Did. Plate DI. Plate DIII. Plate DIV. Plate DV. Plate DVI. Plate DVII. Plate DIEN. Plate DIX. Plate DX. Plate DXI. Plate DXII. Plate Z8th. Plate DXIV. Plate DXV. Plate DXVI. Plate XI. Plate XI8th. Plate DXIX. Plate DXX. Plate DXXI. Plate XI. Plate XIth. Plate XIV. Plate DXXV. Plate XI. Plate XI. Plate XI8th. Plate XX. Plate DXXX. Plate XI. Plate XI. Plate XIth. Plate XIV. Plate DXXXV. Plate XI. Plate XI. Plate XI8th. Plate XI. Plate DXL. Plate DXLI. Plate XLI. Plate XLIEN. Plate XLIV. Plate DXLV. Plate XLV. Plate XLADI. Plate XLADIAth. Plate XLIX. Plate DL. Plate DLI. Plate DLII. Index to the plants contained in Vol. 8 errata. The full Project Gutenberg license.